All right, so we are here today to talk about this guy who is a man and a myth and a famed director that we all know and probably mostly love. It's this dude, Wes Anderson. And we are here to talk about each and every film in the man's filmography here today in one sitting, specifically in a ranking type setting. And the way we're going to do it is it's structured like tennis final match point thing, whatever it's called. It's also like ping pong, where the way you serve, it starts with one person, and another person does the two serves, and then the other person does two serves. If
Sure.
that makes
Also
sense.
called a snake. You have your order of operations,
hmm
but
It's also just the same exact way that Red Letter Media does their ranked list.
yeah,
So if you're familiar with those, it'll be the same here. But before we get into the exact positioning of all the rankings and stuff, which will be spoiling every movie in his filmography here today once we begin talking about them. Um, but before that, we should get into some of the non-spoiler general takes about how we feel about this dude and his the films that he has made, generally speaking. So, Peter, if you want to go first on that.
I mean, he's without a doubt one of my favorite directors of all time. He has my favorite movie of all time that we will discuss perhaps further on in this video.
Hmm.
But there's so much to say about his style, his uh, way of filmmaking, and his affection for like miniatures and setups and really intricate set design. Um, and there's not really anyone else doing it quite like him. He has a very unique way of filming and writing and creating characters. All of it just kind of serves to create some really impactful stories that are often humorous and heartfelt, and just a really great kind of enjoyable and accessible filmmaker that creates just a whole load of really, really good movies.
hmm Yeah, I feel quite similarly. As far as how I feel about him, more specifically, is that he has also made a film, or at least one, that fits within some of the my most highest personal ranked lists of all time, as far as films go. Um, and he's interesting to me because I watched most of these films in prior years of my existence, and then most recently in anticipation of the recording of this, I sort of rewatched all of them. Not necessarily on consecutive days, but sort of nearly that. And it was really interesting doing it because I watched them in order of when they were released, and so I sort of got to see the evolution um, of this famed auteur. And I mean, we had talked about it a little bit off screen, but just so the people know, for most directors, that's probably really cool. But for this guy, it sort of annoyed me a little bit because if I had to summarize my opinions about this guy, is there's um, a raise in how much I like the films over time as he makes them, and then it peaks, and then after that peak, which we'll get to eventually, there's sort of a steady decline. And the reason for that is because this sort of mountain we're going over is taking the average of his the quality of his filmmaking, the production value of everything, where he's positioning the camera, the cinematography, the colors, the shot composition, and the idea of presenting things in different formats from not just aspect ratios, but also like stuff on TVs versus just normal things, and also sound, how it changes as a character moves through the room, and things like that. And the consideration he's taking for those things is generally increasing as his films advance from one to another. But the main thing that pulls away from those is the sort of emotional takeaways and payoffs and the themes and characters and stuff. So the ones that raise all the way to the top are ones that are going to have that solid mixture of both, where I'm going to have emotional takeaways from the really cool, high quality filmmaking. Um, so that's where it begins. It begins on a cool emotional journey, has that peak, and then continues to have good film production, like even better and better with each one. But with each story, I'm sort of like progressively less interested in them as we advance from one to another. Still, though, he makes very good films that are very unique and, like you said, quite humorous and overall enjoyable. Like, even the ones I dislike the most are ones that I cannot even necessarily say are bad at all. They're all good. And, I mean, obviously, we would both recommend people check them out, especially before we get into talking about spoiling things. Which, by the way, for the rankings, I forgot to say, once we both hit a film that's on each of our lists, then we will discuss it more in depth, because otherwise it's alternating. Anyways, but that's that. Um, so, to get things started here, which again, we're going to spoil all of these, so prepare yourself or
Well,
leave or
we
do whatever.
we
um,
are not
hmm?
mentioning the short films, are we?
We are. Did
We
you
are.
not
Okay.
put those in?
I'll group them. I
Yep.
have them
Yeah,
as
that's the other thing, because he has 12 major motion pictures, and then somewhat recently, a few years ago, he did a sort of quartet of short films, and we will be considering the four of those as one thing. And then once we get to that, we'll do like a mini ranking of each of those also. So that should be fun. And he's also done a number of other short films, some of which relate to other films he's done. And I don't know, I watched them just because I wanted to 100% his director section on Letterboxd. So I'll mention some of those as we go along. Though they're not major components in the rest of the filmography stuff. So, anyways, shall we get started, Peter?
with number 13 on the
Mm-hmm.
list, I guess. Um,
Which
should I
for
start?
I start,
Okay, okay,
Peter, and
okay.
then you do too.
How about you go then? Tell us what your least favorite
My
Wes
least
Anderson movie
favorite
is
Wes Anderson film, Peter,
on the
is
record.
none other than Bottle Rocket.
Okay, okay,
Don't tell me
understand.
that's not a wild take.
Not a
Is that
wild
different
take.
from you?
It is different than um my least favorite that I've watched from him at this point in time, very recently, is The Phoenician Scheme,
Okay.
which I have complicated feelings.
Which we'll get into.
Yeah,
But
we will
first,
get into,
it has to be on my list, obviously, which you never know when that's going to be.
of course. But the thing about Bottle Rocket is that is my next least favorite. So
Oh, okay. My
if we
number
want,
13, your number 12. Let's get into this thing. So
yes,
it's his freshman film.
his debut, I'd say, yeah.
Which he also before making this, he had a short film from this film came out in 96. In 93, he had a short film of the same title, which I've watched. It feels like the definition of a student film. Like, it's black and white, it's 4:3. They're filming on campus, and the legibility is not there at all. Like, I have no idea what's happening. I barely understand anything. Nothing super complicated happens. It's just like that the stuff they're talking about like doesn't make sense. But then by the time the equivalent scenes are happening in the 96 film, it's I mean, it feels like a film. That, like, the difference is huge, even
Yeah.
from the very first scene. Because I think I watched them right after another, so I started with the 93 and it was like, what was that? And then the 96 one started. I'm like, whoa, that's a real film right here. Which again, I was revisiting here, but just like together, viewing them together, it's such a big difference that I was impressed really. And it's, again, even though it's quite near the bottom, that just goes to show how far he eventually goes
Yeah.
down the road of filmmaking life. Which this one is decent overall as a film.
It's not a bad film.
It's decent.
It's tough because we're ranking it amongst his other films, and he has a lot of good quality films. But this one in particular is his most raw, his least innovative. It's
Hmm.
just a little uh, safe and predictable, but there's a lot of his trademark humor and there's still that sort of Wes Anderson style to it
Yeah.
where there's you have your certain character archetypes where you have like a bit of a fool, a bit of like a heartfelt kind of genuine guy, and then various other side characters that are all bouncing around and
Hmm.
kind of dealing with whatever hijinks ensue. Um, I thought my favorite aspect of this movie is probably the romance between the main
Really?
character
I was
Andy,
gonna
and
say that's one of the weaker
I like
things
it
because
a
it's so
lot.
just like
It's very just straightforward and genuine. It feels real to me, and
okay.
I like both the performances. And then I also like the difficulty with the language barrier and that leading to miscommunication
Yeah,
issues.
that's yeah.
It's very standard for like a rom-com kind
It's
of.
maybe the most somehow in-depth romance in this whole
It might be. Uh,
filmography. Because I was gonna say that's one of his weaker aspects that for some films doesn't matter as much as others.
mhm,
But in this they emphasize it a bit, which for you it worked. For me it didn't. I don't know why
yeah.
as to why it
What
did
would
that.
you say your favorite aspects of this film then are?
Definitely like seeing the early stages of his stylization. So like the film that, or excuse me, the scene that sticks out to me the most in this film is just like it's very early on. It's when they get on the bus and you get that whatever shot of like the camera like still, but it turns around as they go in and they sit down. And someone else was something else Wes Anderson likes is he likes infographics. So stuff from like maps, newspapers, or little personal notes and whatnot. And in that scene, in that very moment, Owen Wilson is like presenting Luke Wilson, his real life brother, the his like plans for the robbery and stuff, and it's all scribbled down on this notebook. So he likes those physical uh, parchment type thingies, and so you get to see like the early stages, the early phases of that type of camera movement that he does quite often in like almost every film. I feel like, and then also the whole uh, physical note things. And in that scene, also, it's Owen Wilson rambling about his plans and stuff. The dialogue at that point feels, I don't know if it's like the most stylized in the film, but it reminded me at least of where he eventually went down the line there. So I'd say like that moment in particular, and I do overall like the dynamic between the Wilson Bros in this film, which is where they got their start along with Wes, because Owen went to film school with Wes, and then just like, I'll get my brothers to do it also, and they did.
All three of them, I guess. You
Yeah,
don't often get to hear from Andrew, the oldest Wilson brother,
yeah,
but
he's the bully in this one.
yeah, he roles it and Wes's earlier stuff, which is fun to see.
They also
Um,
somehow got what's his name, James Caan.
yeah, James
Is
Caan
that
as
it? They're
the
like, yeah,
one
you could have this one badass scene where you
target. Yeah,
punch the bully or whatever you did.
yep, yeah. So good to see him. As a debut film, I think it's a good start.
It's really
Um,
good.
it's definitely something that he would expand upon and just build upon his style and kind of
Hmm.
cohere into what his filmmaking would become.
Yeah.
But this is a really interesting starting point, and it's cool to see that even before all of his fame and success, he still had the same kind of direction behind what he was making,
Hmm.
um, which is it's cool to see.
Yeah,
So
it's nice. It's simple. It's small scoped. It's I think 90 minutes. Also, it's wrapped up and bundled in a nice enough way. There's also the ending where uh, Owen Wilson is walking to prison and he does like this epic slow motion turn. I love that. That's so awesome.
yeah, yeah, the
It's so
salute.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good ending. I like the whole kind of climax that it comes to, and like the various uh, troubles and tribulations that the heist goes, uh, and then the various kind of back and forth between different perspectives
Hmm.
surrounding the whole thing. I think it's also another one of my favorite moments in the film.
Yes, sir.
But
So that's Bottle Rocket, I think.
next Bottle Rocket for 12th in line. Um,
13 in mind. But my 12th, Peter, is this one that goes way into the future of his projects. It's this one called Isle of Dogs.
really, this low?
This slow.
Okay,
This
okay.
slow. Maybe
That's
like the
another.
Phoenician scheme. I have something's
Mm,
personal is happening with it.
mm, okay,
Um,
we'll discuss that.
hmm.
Uh,
But beyond that, I got for 11 in my ranking. I have The French Dispatch.
Mm, a contentious one of his
Hmm.
more recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that is not where I have it, though.
Hmm.
Close. Um, however, we go to meet, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going my 10th,
No,
which
well,
is,
your 11th.
yeah, my
It's gonna be fucked up to keep track.
it
You
is
should probably
tough.
mark. I'm gonna start marking them when I mention their name.
Um, for mine, mine's somewhat contentious. It may have to do with like when I saw it and it just being bundled up in his other films. It's less of a standout for me. That being the Darjeeling Unlimited, or I always want to say
Really?
Darjeeling Unlimited, but it's the Darjeeling Limited. Um, Three guys on a train. And yeah, it's not a bad film. Obviously, I like it a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
it's one of my least favorites after looking through the rest of his filmography and
Okay. Okay.
coming to terms with it. But after that, number 10, that is where I put the French Dispatch.
Okay.
Rated a little higher than you, but
It's
I
fairly similar position,
understand.
but to be fair, it
Yeah,
makes sense. And why
yeah.
does it make sense that it would be the slow Peter?
It's it's him swinging for the fences. It feels like after when did this come out? It was one of his later films, or one of his more recent films, I would say. And it came after Isle of Dogs, where
Mm-hmm.
that one was also perhaps a little contentious, as we'll discuss. But he seemed with the French Dispatch to just do things his own way. The framing is very strange. It covers three different stories, but all told
Four, sort of.
stories. Yeah, because you have the wider framing narrative
Yeah.
about it being about a newspaper roughly
Mm-hmm.
analogous to the New Yorker, and about the editor who is discussing with each of his authors on the page about their three different stories. And so you get that kind of weird uh, framework that he likes to, he's started to really enjoy working with stories within stories within stories about people making stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was hard to follow at first, but there's a ton to delve into with this film that I really like. It's maybe not his most abstract, but very close to it. There's only one that I would maybe put above that, um, city, but this one is definitely up there. Um, I liked how fragmented it was, but I will admit it is easy to lose track of things. It's so artificial in the way it's presented and how things are staged and how the direct, like the characters are acting, which makes it a little hard to connect to that human element that
Mm-hmm.
is very apparent in many of his other films. Um, but it's there if you dig into it. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it's definitely evidence of the emotional connection sort of waning, and I feel like the fact that it is so segmented so heavily sort of paved the way to him doing those short films.
short films.
Because like they're supposed to have a connection between the three of them through the fourth story, but that overarching fourth story is really there's nothing to it really. So what you're left with essentially is three short films that vaguely connect to each other. Um, and the presentation of each of them is quite nice and quite unique, and it plays into that whole he's messing with the sound, like I was sort of talking about earlier. Where in this one you have Tilda Swinton speaking at the stage in front of her microphone, and then she walks away from it, and the sound of her in the room changes. You got the Jeffrey Wright section where it's bouncing between times of him when he's doing his like newspaper shenanigans and then when he's on TV. And you have also like the sound changing when you start at like the ceiling, I think, or something, and then it sort of goes down. And as it goes down on like the TV set, it also changes the audio to reflect that. And so as like a filmmaking, from the perspective of filmmaking quality, production value, this one is quite high. Um, it's just that like with each story, I feel like I finished the film and then what? Well, that was nice, you know. I don't expect every single movie I watch to be life changing, perhaps, but I would like something a little bit more than that to stick with me. Um, and I think this is the point in his career where we're giving mostly not that anymore. Where it's just look at these cool things I have ideas for, and I'm tinkering around with and presenting to you guys, and it's cool. Um, and it's still a very good film. I just want to complain about it, you know. Um, but yeah, again, it's a lot of different aspect ratio and color combinations just throughout this whole thing. It really feels like he's toying with all of the methods of filmmaking. So I mean that's really cool. One thing that did bother me though is that they have Timothy Chalamet in this, who's French, and he's a French boy in like the Revolution and stuff, and he's speaking English the whole time. And then the people he's talking to are speaking French. It's like, why not just have Timothy speak French, man? Like,
That's a good point.
what?
I could have,
Why? Why?
yeah.
That's what
There's
he's.
definitely
That's what he was made to do, and you're taking it away from him.
there's a ton of
You're on a Hollywood set. You're gonna speak English, even though everyone else is not.
yeah. I guess maybe it made it easier for his dialogue with
Direction, like I guess, but
Dorm's character.
it's literally in the same conversations that he has.
I
It's person A talks, person B talks, and
and
he's
you know
person
like
A.
especially in this film, he usually has no problem with having people speak languages and having like no direct translating within the
Yeah,
film.
when he's like
It's just
speaking to
like
Francis
act
McDormand, he
subtitles.
could speak English,
Yeah.
but when he's talking to the other French kids, he just they're speaking French. I
It
don't
wouldn't be
know.
that out of the
It's
ordinary
a
for him to
stylized
be
thing.
speaking French to Frances McDormand's character and it just be acceptable that she would
Right.
understand
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. And you could
there's
have
enough of
that
that
also.
artificiality in how he's presenting the events and like the stories within the stories.
Yeah, because I mean, like the places they're at, they're like super sets. I don't know how to describe them, but there's the part where they're at the
Yeah,
bar or place, and it like sort of expands, and like the room just completely. I forget what happens, but something about it changes as if they
yeah,
are on a theater
the wall
set.
slides out and you
Yeah,
go in. I mean, that's always the strongest aspect of his stuff is the set design and the production value. And like you said, it just gets stronger as the films go on, like as he gets more experience and
hmm
more money to work with. Um, but yeah, this is the one I think where it feels like he's constraining against the existing preconceptions about his films and like he has that style, but this one seems to be almost meta in his dissection of what that style is and why why is it so valuable? Why does he do it? Where does it come from? And
hmm
so he, from what I can tell, has a great deal of affection for the New Yorker and the stories that came from it and the authors that wrote for it. And so this film is a, a love letter to that, and then also kind of using it as a mirror for himself and how he kind of views himself as both a writer and an editor, and kind of putting together stories and then trying to find value in the act of storytelling. That's what I get out of it,
Okay.
and why I appreciate it so much is just because I'm already such a big fan of him,
Yeah.
and this is just essentially him really trying to explain why it is what he does and like how to find value in that, both as an
Yeah.
audience member.
It's interesting you say that because I got that takeaway for a different film of his, and not this
Mm,
one.
mm. I interesting to see what film that is because I
Hmm.
that'd be something that I've felt in other films from him, um, and perhaps a bit of a package film that I think is directly
Hmm.
correlated with this one, but I think looks a little better.
Perhaps.
Um, but other
So
than
that was
that,
your number 10,
number 10.
correct? Okay. So my number 10 is The Phoenician Scheme. So now we can
Okay,
get into this one.
a little higher for you.
Peter, why does this film suck ass according to you?
Yeah, it's tough because I watched it with, high expectations. I love all this stuff, and this one just it felt like it offered me nothing new. Um, and it felt like a watered down version of a story that he's already told. I didn't really get anything extra out of it. Like with the French Dispatch, it's like, yeah, you have your base story, your anthological stories about your three different uh, essays or whatever, plus
Hmm.
whatever. But you also get that meta narrative of him being a storyteller and his love for stories. With the Phoenician Scheme, it felt harder to find that. There are elements to it that I really like. I love all those black and white sequences where our main character dies or like comes close to death and
Yeah,
essentially
he's on
views
trial.
the divine. And I like those themes of the divine and how are you supposed to like save yourself if you're fallen, or how to find value in life beyond material things. And those themes feel like they've been explored in other films that he's done, just better. The characters themselves are good, but I feel like there's similar archetypes that I've seen done better. Um, Filmmaking wise, it is one of his best looking movies. It looks fantastic. The blocking is all immaculate. Sets are all great. Um, but like I said, despite this being a good movie and me having like a hard time kind of describing why it would be a bad film, it just lacks that spark, I think, that I find in many of his other stuff. Or at least it's harder for me to find. So that's just why personally it's at the bottom of my
Hmm.
list.
I think that's completely reasonable. This is the most recent one that he has made, and it feels on that level mostly. I think I did somehow manage to resonate emotionally,
Mhm.
slightly, vaguely, a little bit more with this one than the French Dispatch, and that's the only reason why it's a little bit higher. Because I don't even know if, as far as filmmaking techniques and production levels go, if it's even that much better, if it is at all, than the French Dispatch. Um, Perhaps on the same plane,
Mhm.
vaguely, because they
In a
fly in a
different
plane on this.
it definitely seems like the French Dispatch is more experimental, whereas
Yeah.
this one
Oh
is
yeah,
more
definitely.
deliberate. It's
This
more
one
focused.
it feels more controlled and restrained, and it reminds me slightly of a different film in his filmography that focuses on a dynamic duo and is sort of an adventure
I
with
would agree.
somewhat of an ensemble. It seems like that's sort of from a narrative standpoint a similar setup there.
Maybe
Um,
that's why it was such a letdown for me, is because it feels very
it
comparatory
compares
to
so
that.
heavily to a particular other one.
But yeah, it just in context, it like you said, the decline is there. However, there are still things to find value in. So would still recommend checking this out, obviously, if you're already a fan of Wes
No,
Anderson.
yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
but
And like looking at my list right now, I don't even know why I put it above French Dispatch. Honestly,
yeah,
like it must have just been at the time. I gave myself no notes for this one for some fucking reason. I have notes on my other ones, but not this one. I don't know why.
I
I
have
guess there was just not as
all
much
films are
to it.
sorry.
Michael Cera is in this, and people like him in this role,
Yeah,
and he did quite well. And that
his
character
performance never showed up
is somewhat of a standout in
in a
the
Wes. Yeah,
cast, I would say. I do like the fight scene near the end. That was fun.
uh,
If you remember that.
yes, yeah. That it is a fun one. It that for some reason it felt like it was lacking that sort of energy that I
Really.
find in another dynamic duo film. Um, but it was there in that kind of sequence at the end where you have the brothers fighting. Um, there's definitely elements to it in the film, but it felt faked. I don't know why. It just felt more forced and less authentic, which I think I find. Um, yeah, honestly, I found this movie to be the least authentic of his. And I find a lot of value in his authenticity or his like heartfeltness, his genuineness in all of his other films. That for this one, it felt lacking, and it kind of gave me an off feeling. But like I said, still a good movie.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why it's this much higher. I think it's just I'm trying to think right now. I think it's just a bunch of random small things like the fact that Michael Cera studied bugs or insects, and when I was a kid,
He's
I liked
got a good
those.
character. Yeah,
And then I like mansions and very very big
rooms, just like
houses
that
and just
huge
like in filmmaking seeing them
outside.
and stuff, and you get a good couple of moments in these really nice, really unique rooms that um I enjoy. So just I don't know, it's something very simple, that aspect of it, but something about it at the time did sort of do a little bit something for me because again, like the other dynamic duo film it is more of like a found family slightly sort of thing, and this one is more of a they are family and they're reconnecting, which he
Still the
also
same
sort of has done that in at
though.
least one other film.
Still a found family. Like
Hmm.
it scratches a very, very similar itch.
Yeah,
Uh, the
because was she adopted or was she
Yeah, she
biological? I don't even
biological,
remember.
but like a bastard, or he has multiple wives, so it's
Right.
hard to tell like how like
Right. I mean, he has like 20 kids or something.
yeah, and like some of those are adopted. I think she is biological,
Okay.
but the question was, is she? Because the question was, is it not her his
Oh,
brother?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember
because
that
what the brother
now.
is in love with the same woman,
Hmm.
so um, her mother. But yeah, a good movie. Um, like you were saying about like having difficulty ranking all of these, I have like every one of his films is a 7 or above for me.
Yeah, they're very interchangeable in these
Yeah.
rankings. Like again, if I had made this list on another day, some of them
Mhm.
may have been shuffled around a little bit, minus like the very top two and bottom two, probably.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
everything in the middle is like up for grabs, truthfully.
right. And it just depends on where you're coming into it, like what context. It's interesting your context coming into it, watching it all chronologically.
Yeah.
This is the last one that you've watched, I assume.
Uh,
And
yeah.
it's definitely a massive leap forward from Bottle Rocket. So
Oh,
it's
100%.
interesting to frame
Completely
it
different.
amongst all of this stuff. But I guess we'll have to frame it even better with once we get to his better movies.
Hmm.
Uh,
So, next one I have, my number 9, is The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and Three More, which is the four short films
yep,
in one big scoop. That's my
very
number
close,
9.
very close to mine because my number 9 is one that we've already discussed or you've mentioned, Isle of Dogs.
Oh.
I think I made fun of you for having it so low, but
Hmm.
I honestly, it's not my one of my favorites,
Yeah.
but it is very good.
Yeah.
Um,
This one is quite uh highly regarded. What is it? 4.1? No,
yeah,
4.0,
Letterboxd's most
which is still
popular.
pretty damn high on Letterboxd.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's a big deal. The main thing for me is this, on a previous episode that should be up by the time this video gets uploaded, I talked about this video game Death Stranding. And part of the reason why I dislike that as much as I did is because I didn't really get anything out of it. And I could tell that there was a lot of hard work and effort put into that video game for an experience that did not feel extremely lived
Meaningful.
in, and uh, there's a word similar to forgiving that I was about to say, but then I forgot about it. That sounds
Forgiving.
similar to forgiving. Fulfilling.
A
It
villain.
doesn't feel very fulfilling. Neither of those experiences, because that's how I would compare it to this one here, Isle of Dogs, where he made a stop motion film before this one. This one, I mean, to reiterate again, higher quality, lower
It looks
emotional
incredible.
takeouts.
It's one of the best looking stop motion pictures
Oh,
that
it
I've
looks
ever
so good, which it
seen.
pisses me off genuinely that all of this effort was put in for just a story that is not great. I
It's
don't even know
not
if I should call it not good. It's empty. It feels like there's at least one thing of major relevance that is absent from this film in some way.
Mhm.
Um, I enjoy the main five ensemble. Bryan Cranston as the main dude, he's really good at
He is.
voice acting.
All the voice acting, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh, it all works with his style. Wes Anderson always has dialogue delivered in a sort of, uh, I don't know, self-aware way, or like very dry, kind of flat deliveries,
yeah,
um, which works with stop motion uh, particularly well. Um, but beyond that, you could tell that the voice actors or the actors themselves are having fun with
yeah.
it. Um,
So the
the
acting's great. The visuals are
yeah,
like this is one of the best looking films I feel like ever made. Right.
yeah,
Um, it just sucks because the what even is the story? What even do I get out of it? There's a dog that's missing by a boy and he's looking for it, and there's this communism. They hate dogs and they're killing them, and then students figure out, oh, it's not the dogs, or it's
the
fucking
people.
someone else that we could
Yeah,
get rid of and live with dogs again.
yeah, it's definitely. I would agree. The story is the weakest aspect. Um, I still found a lot of value, like you said, with the ensemble, with the main cast of dogs
Yeah,
and boy. Some of the side stories are definitely less interesting to me, but I
when it
think,
focuses on the humans.
yeah, exactly. And like their avenue of the story is not as intriguing, or it's just not as heartfelt. I like the dogs because they're easy to connect to. They have a lot of loss, and then the regaining of happiness that it's easy to find connection with, which
Mm-hmm.
is why I think I rate it higher than you. Um,
It's because I hate
but
dogs,
you-
obviously.
dogs, yeah, yeah. Um, but really, it's really easy for me to just bump it up a few points just because the animation, it looks so good, and it feels good to watch just
Yeah,
because of how intricate and talented the animation is. Um, it's huge props to everyone. I also really like the soundtrack. It's a lot of percussives. It's just mostly drums a lot for a lot of the time. And you have your interesting frames within the story. Even in the animation style of Wes Anderson is like where you have your the um, opening credits is like that whole musical montage, and then also there's like the various different TV broadcasts that are like
yeah. I was gonna mention that. That's
hours.
awesome. Where it's like some sort of 2D animated thing that it
Yeah,
transitions
exactly.
into within the 3D
With
landscape. Like it's really cool.
it's really cool. I love when he blends animation styles along
Yeah,
with various other like uh, real life filmmaking. It's just he has a great eye for composition and art in general. Yeah, like this film, it's tough because he was coming back to stop motion, and so there's a lot of hype there because his previous effort with Fantastic Mr. Fox is many people's favorite movie from him, um, and it's a great one. So following it up is difficult, and I don't think it is as strong, obviously, but it's still a good addition to his filmography and definitely one to check out if you're at all interested in stop motion animation or just animated films in general.
yeah. Oh yeah, easily. I mean, like again, as far as to compare it to that film, Fantastic Mr. Fox, I think it is better in terms of the stop motion
Definitely
quality
quality.
and
Yeah.
maybe even the voice acting. I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
from like a directional standpoint, it's stronger. It's just again the story is
Yeah.
not as good perhaps as that one. Um,
Which is important. And I think we value that more so than the actual technical
than the
elements of them.
presentational things, because
Um,
for me those things will enhance a
yeah.
good story rather than determine it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But this one still somehow sits on the border where overall I do have a positive experience with things. Like I'm being overly negative in these first couple of films, but that's just because I admire him so much and I know that
Mhm.
he's capable of doing so many things. And we're again comparing it to other things that he's made that we overall feel more positively about. So to reiterate for the thousandth time, this is a good film that is worth checking out. It just bothers me slightly. It's a it's a
Yes.
it's a personal thing. I doubt. many people would be bothered while watching this film. Oh, this offends me. Come on, it's very good and entertaining and really cool. So,
Speaking of good films that we talk about more in depth now, my number 9 would be The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, and
oh,
this sort of
wait, do you mean your number 8?
number 8. You're right, number 8.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah,
Yep. We're right. We're
it's
right on the same sort of wavelength, somewhat.
it's right about center, middle of the road, middle of the pack for him.
Hmm.
And it's an interesting sort of project that he undertook
Yeah.
for
Oh,
the
we should do for this. We should do not a spoiler takes, and then go into the ranking
okay.
of each of these
Uh,
ones.
yeah.
So, what are your non
Uh,
spoiler takes on the wonderful story of Henry Sugar and Three More?
Again, his production quality so fantastic. The set design in this one particularly, just because
That
of
stands out a
how
lot.
storybook it is.
Yeah.
With these being adaptations of various Roald Dahl stories, um, it's tighter. The sets are less elaborate, but they serve the story because they're so artistic and um, less literal. Kind of similar to certain aspects of the French Dispatch. Um, and this came out after or before Asteroid City. Um, it was the same year. He had a
After.
bunch of projects, um, and it's just the writing is obviously adapted from Roald Dahl, so
Hmm.
I can't really accredit it all to Wes Anderson, but there seems to be a lot of appreciation for his stuff from Wes just because obviously he's already adapted Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Hmm.
Um, but the stories are good. They all have obviously a lot that you can read into, a lot of morals, or they're almost parable-like in their format. Um, and each of them have something to appreciate. Um, there are definitely some that are more fleshed out, whereas
Well, yeah.
uh,
You
episodes
have
like
one that's twice the length of the other ones, so it's given a little bit more emphasis.
uh, but the other ones feel very much like passion projects with people
That's
who,
what this whole thing feels like. It
yeah,
feels like one big passion project of him wanting to continue paying homage to this author he admires quite a bit.
yeah. And
Um,
there's even there's still that framework that he loves to play with about it being about an author telling the story
yeah,
about stories in like the
yeah,
film.
because Ray Fiennes plays Doll, and he appears in at least two of these short films
Yeah,
as
just
that role
kind of
specifically.
yeah, a bit of like a wider scope on the narrative.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, interesting stuff. Without any spoilers,
Yeah,
good films.
and something they also do quite uniquely from other adaptations of stuff is the way that the dialogue is handled, where the characters will narrate the things that they're doing or that other people are doing, and they'll do so in rapid succession of their actual lines of dialogue. So there's a lot of very well performed, very well choreographed, just entire scenes and
Yeah,
moments that last for a long time of a character saying a line of dialogue to somebody else. They turn to the camera, they describe what's happening, and then they go back in character, say some more things, have a conversation, narrate some more things, and then like other people are moving around and doing different things. Like it's very impressive, and it feels like this is the one that feels most like a theater type joint with those one takes and those very planned out performed things. In addition to the sets being so just nice, just so nice to look at. Like maybe the best sets he's ever done in like a stylized fashion. We could get into the rankings of the wonderful story of Henry Sugar and Three More though. If we want to start
one
with the
thing.
bottom. Hmm?
Yeah, one thing to add is
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about how similar this is to like the French Dispatch, and I would also put it with Asteroid City. It's just these are all kind of similar era for him, where
Yeah,
he is playing with that sort of meta narrative where you have your characters speaking to the audience and narrating as well as like immediately.
yeah, but
Yeah,
in those ones, there's specific characters dedicated to the narrating. In this, it's they're bouncing back and forth between them,
exactly.
which I thought
It's
was
even
a lot of
more
fun.
supported. Yeah, so it's definitely a unique thing from him
Hmm.
that he seems to really have wanted to play around with because it feels like he was exploring this with the French Dispatch, and then sort of kind of found his footing more so in this short of or this series of shorts,
Yeah.
which makes sense because it's almost formatted for that sort of thing, or at least he does a very good job of making it seem natural. Um, but yeah, let's get into our rankings. This is going to be
Hmm.
very tough because I, they're all so.
It's very close with just all of them because they follow such a similar structure and style. Though I do have vague reasons for the rankings that I have before me. If do you need a minute to figure it out, or do you have it? Because I don't know if we fully
Have
planned
my
that.
top one, and
Okay.
then I have a hard time choosing my least favorite of it. It would be between the Ratcatcher and the Swan, I think.
Really,
Um,
for me,
like
it's Poison. Is my least
Poison.
favorite.
I like that one. I kind of dug how uh, tense it was. Like it's very much like um, it's horror in the aspect of horror being something that you can't see, or it's like horror versus terror, or whatever. Where it's
Yeah.
that scene scare, and like that being so much more effective at creating tension than oh you see the snake at all times or like you know like what it's up to and like what it wants. It's just a thing that's there, and it's like, is it going to kill him? I don't know. Um,
Is it even there to begin with?
is it there? Yeah. Um, but
Or at
my
least that's what I was thinking. But
stand
also
out.
they're using the set stuff, so they're like there literally
Yeah.
is not a snake on the set. They're like all pretending, but maybe within the story, that's also a thing that's going on, and it's all in his head.
It's on his head. Why was this your
Obviously, not every single character has to be a complete schizo meltdown freakoid, but that's just how I like to think of it somehow. Sometimes, so that's my bottom one, Poison, and then for me it goes the Swan, which
okay?
for that one I love the sets of that, but
Mhm. I love the sets with the grain and the pond,
it
and
was so nice.
it's
It
excellent.
was so nice. But that's really like the biggest thing it had going for it. Other than that, it feels like the least involved. Like it feels like there's the least amount of things going on with it,
I feel
and
like
it's much simpler because it's mostly just the one dude lore dropping the whole time
mm,
versus like conversations taking place and whatnot.
I liked it because I felt like it was more, um, there was more to dig into just because it's obviously a very simple story, like
Hmm.
narrative, but the themes and like I don't know, the message of the story is very kind of like sad and a little dark and like
Hmm.
there's definitely that aspect of it that I thought was more interesting than say, um, I think the Ratcatcher is maybe my least favorite. Um, I still
I like
like the
that one a
characters,
lot.
but I think that that one had like the least to dig into for me.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
uh,
agree.
it's definitely a good one though. I like Grapevines obviously as the Ratcatcher.
Yeah,
He's
but
fun.
I admired it because of that sudden turn it takes near the end when they're like fighting. It's just like it feels out of nowhere. I was like, oh shit, what's happening?
Yeah.
And
Um,
like a weird stylized way to show a fight where it's basically just like still images of them they're like frozen and he just like zooms in on them and then it
it,
fades to black or something and there's like implied stuff. But like with what you're given, just that lone sort of creepy imagery there with him like transforming
yeah.
somehow, some weird shit.
It,
But like
well,
other than that, the conversations themselves that they were having, I found more entertaining than the narration of the Swan,
mhm,
its approach to it, and maybe that's why I was not as drawn to her as in the mind of I need to be thinking actively about what the person
mhm,
is saying about vague things.
yeah. But that takes us to
The
our
obvious number one is, of course, the one that is what the quartet mostly is named after, which is the wonderful story of Henry Sugar. I want to say the wonderful world. I've had to like to stop myself every time because that would just makes more sense to say "wonderful world" instead of
It
"wonderful
rolls off
story."
the tongue better. Yeah, yeah.
But this one, it's 40 minutes. The other ones are 20, and in that elongated length, it's able to do much more. It's able
Yeah,
to bounce between different characters of different narratives, telling their stories to each other. Um, and it's again like they're all a lot of fun, but this one feels the most fun. Like even from the beginning with the whole set that what's his name, Henry, not Henry,
with all the
Cumberpatch.
books. Yeah,
What's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Henry Cumberpatch. Oh, because Henry is the name of the thing. That's
The
why I thought
character.
Henry.
Yeah,
Duh. Yeah, Cumberpatch coming in to the set and it's like moving around.
yeah,
Eddie's talking, and again, it's a lot of coordinated stuff. That's it's really cool to see on screen.
yeah.
And you get the whole like guru floating
Mhm.
mojo business in
There's a
this one
lot of
also.
fun. Like this obviously has the most time to develop its character. It's really just developing a character. The
Hmm.
wider world of this short story is mostly for serving the purpose of developing him. Um, but there's, like you said, the sets and the production, like it's so good. And like I would love to see or just like be on set for that and like trying to see how everything is coordinated and choreographed and like it
They
seems
probably
like
storyboarded it, like illustrating
right
it
like
down, and then
basically all of the important elements are physical and like able to be interacted with, which is impressive because he also does a lot of obviously animation stuff. But this is, like you said, is most theatrical, um, doing a lot with a little, lots of props and intricate camera work to maintain the illusion of it all being um, more than it is. But yeah, it's a good one. I like these sort of all of these different short stories have similar themes where it's kind of dark and kind of sad and a little sardonic in the way it deals with like various different human vices and being like, well, it's just how it is. I guess maybe you can find some good in it, but it's also going to lead to pain a lot of the time, and you just have to be used to it. There are ways you could play it off with humor, but um, I think it's a fun sort of unique take that Wes Anderson doesn't normally really write stories like these. His is usually more heartfelt, more uplifting in general.
yeah,
Whereas these short stories were a little more dark from him, which
hmm
I found some value out of.
yeah, definitely leaning more into the horror aspects of just that genre in general, from at least the Rat Catcher and Poison.
Mm,
And then yeah, this one and this one get a little dark at moments, but then
mhm.
that's like I forget the
Juxt-
word. Yeah, juxtaposed between the really cool and fun sets. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, good series of films. Very cool
Hmm.
that he got to do this project. I would be very interested to see whatever he does, honestly. Like if he ever steps away from filmmaking, I think he could do very interesting things wherever he wants. I think he's just that kind of artist. Um, love this stuff. Hope he does more similar kind of side projects because
Yeah.
it would be very cool to see.
Hmm. Hmm. So
I think
that's the
that's
wonderful story of Henry Sugar and three more. So I got my next two here, Peter.
number seven,
Number eight.
right?
What?
Eight. You're eight. You're eight.
I'm
That was
eight. You just did
now.
eight, and now I do eight, and then I do seven, and then you do seven, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Um, so number eight for me is Moonrise Kingdom.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I could not believe it myself either. First time
Okay.
around, it
I
was in a
think
bit
at
of a different
first,
spot,
yeah.
which we'll get into.
Hmm.
But on my revisit, it was somewhere else.
That'll
So
be
that's where
interesting.
that's is settled for now.
Okay.
But onwards to number seven, which for me is the Darjeeling Limited,
Hmm.
which you had said
Okay.
before. So that means we
I,
talk about it.
yeah. Um, the way I felt about the Darjeeling is that it's maybe his most by the books film. It's just like his. If I were to imagine a Wes Anderson film, it's hard to say that I would pick it because obviously Grand Budapest is that for me. But the Darjeeling itself is like,
Spoilers
yeah,
for our
just very
rankings.
standard themes and archetypes from him. You have your dysfunctional family
Yep.
with your characters that are, oh, you have the straight man or you have the problematic one. They're
Yeah.
all problematic in this one.
In their own
But
ways.
he loves exploring those kind of families that are dysfunctional,
Yeah.
sometimes found family, or people trying to work to find connection with each other. Um, and the framing of it being on a train is really nice because you get the literal kind of journey and
Hmm.
destination from them. Um,
They're only on the train for like half the film, though.
True, they literally at the half point they get kicked off, but the journey
Yeah.
goes on even without it.
Hmm.
It's- I Performances are all great, I think. Similar performances, honestly, like Owen Wilson plays a similar character to Bottle Rocket, honestly, um, in my eyes. And then
Yeah. 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 As being the more problematic go-getter, the guy
just
with the
being,
plans.
yeah, a little stupid. Really wise in his efforts of foresight, but very kind of genuine. Um, but yeah, I think the reason why I had it so low is just because the
Which
themes
position
are.
was this for you again? 10 or so?
This was 11. Yeah, it's like I felt kind of similarly to it as I did with Phoenician Scheme, um, where
Really?
I came to it. I watched it later than I had watched his other stuff,
Hmm.
and I feel like his other stuff is just better. And so that's part of the reason why I have the Phoenician Scheme and Darjeeling lower is just because they feel like they're scratching similar itches in
Yeah.
ways
There's
that
definitely at least
was
one,
good.
if not two other films that sort of overshadow this one in terms of some of the things it's trying to tackle, sort of similar to Phoenician Scheme.
Absolutely. Um, and so that's a bit of a problem I had with it, just kind of retreading ground that has already been covered by him. Um, I don't think it's bad at all. In fact, I know a lot of people love this one. And it is good. It's fun watch. Like it's more enjoyable, obviously, than I had with the Phoenician Scheme. But the yeah, I just didn't connect with it quite as much as I did with the other stuff.
That's fair. Um, Perhaps, if someone had to psychoanalyze the two of us as for our opinions, why they might differ on this film, it would be, oh, Drew is in a family situation where there's three brothers in total,
Mm,
which like maybe. I did enjoy this one quite a bit. My first time and second time, though, I think the second time I had watched, I liked it a little bit slightly less, just because it's sort of like you were saying. There's less to uh, take away from, especially when you have other films doing similar things and handling those things better. Um, but still, for me, I enjoyed it. It has, I mean, whatever things you might like in a midlife, slightly early Wes Anderson film, um, where you have those. The other thing about like his directional style is a lot of the characters will feel very similar to one another, and so what really can only stand out are very subtle differences between the cast here. Um, and it's really weird because it's Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman, and Adrian Brody. The two of those people got their start with Wes, and those two people, as far as the quality of being actors goes, they're a little bit lower than the other dude in this trio, who you could
maybe.
definitely notice, or at least I did upon rewatch. It's subtle, but it's there. The him being a slightly better actor than the other two of them. But his
I
performance
agree.
is really nice, I think,
Yeah,
in this one.
yeah. He
Um,
fits well. He does obviously. He's known for doing a bunch of crazy character acting,
mhm.
um, running the gambit in characters that he plays. Whereas Owen and Jason are a bit more typecast, especially with Wes Anderson. They
Oh, they're
play.
super
uh, It
typecast.
seems kind of like the affinity that Tarantino has with Sam Jackson, where it's just like they know how to say Wes's dialogue really well, and so he writes for them in similar ways.
Yeah.
But still, this was, I guess, one of their earlier films with them.
Yeah, but he
That
had made at least one film in the past with each of them. Specifically, that was
at
their
least,
debut as actors. So
yes.
that's a pretty big deal. Um, and like again, I like this one quite a bit. I like how they each have their quirks over the set of the film and how they're sort of physically changing with different accessories and carrying around random objects and stuff. And again, like the found family aspect of it, despite the fact that they're an existing family, I still thought was quite well handled. And you get the like flashback scene with them at their dad's funeral at like the auto mechanic shop, and they like have this makeup to make them look younger and stuff. And you see Owen Wilson's face not all messed up. And I like that scene a lot. And I like the film in general quite a bit. Again, I think it's not the most like if you want to be like Peter and you finish the film and you start thinking what were all the themes, what did everything mean, what were all the hidden details, how do they add up, you're going to find less of those things in this one compared to some of the other ones we talked about already and some of the ones we'll go on to talk about. But I think if you just want like a good story to latch on to that's quite simple overall but also quite entertaining, then this one is quite a good package
Yeah, it's one
for
of his
that.
most accessible ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, honestly, now that I'm looking at my list, 11 seems low for it. I guess the fact that like from
Hey, this
like
is better than French
7
Dispatch,
to
right?
12 are all like same
It's so
ranking, I mean, same
close.
rating.
Yeah.
So they can all alternate at some point.
Hmm.
Um, but
Your
that
number
was
seven.
so my or that was your seven. So my seven goes to The Life Aquatic with Steve So.
Okay.
Um, I'm a fan of it, but I
Okay.
think there are cracks with it that we will maybe discuss later.
Certainly.
And then number six for me is Asteroid City.
Whoa.
So, what do you think?
Whoa. I
Hmm,
give that two woes because my number six is also Asteroid City.
hell yeah.
Damn, we had to have at least one that was the same.
We- you said you're seven already, so
Yeah.
Asteroid
Darjeeling
City.
Limited was my seven. This is my six.
Asteroid City is a fun one. It's another one of his most abstract ones.
Yeah.
I think deliberately the framing in this one is very tough to follow at first because you set up with a radio play that is, or is it a stage play about a radio play about someone writing a story about
Story, and
his
then this
with
thing
his
we're
death.
seeing for most of the film is that story he's writing, and like some of the characters, some of the people he's met in real life, he's basing the characters off of them, or some of like the other, just like random people he's heard about. Also, I think,
Right. Yeah, like actors. It's like people in his play
and then
that are like,
we see like a dramatized, sort
yeah,
of more realistic version of the stage play that he's writing, right?
yeah. So there's a
And then people
ton
are
going
bouncing
on.
between the actual that story and being
Yeah,
actors playing that role.
right.
So it's
So
pretty
you have
interesting in
people.
that way.
It's hard to follow,
Yeah, my first time watching, I had like no idea what was happening here.
right? But you can tell. Like I remember watching it in theaters, and it,
Yeah,
it was hard to follow in theaters, but you knew there was something there. Um, that's what I like about.
yeah. I remember we watched it in the movie theater with like a group of friends because at this point, Wes Anderson has become a fairly well known name, and even the normal people who don't typically watch as many films as we do or keep up with them, even they were like knew about this guy by this point. So we would leave the theater and they would look to the two of us and be like, "So what was it
So
about, guys?" And we were just like, I don't
honestly,
even
when you think
remember what
about
we said. If we like
it,
made someone up, we are just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
it's definitely a bit of a package deal with the French Dispatch, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
There-
So when I was saying earlier, when you were saying about how the conclusion you drew to about like the nature of art and stuff and not knowing, I feel like that was this film where you literally get the
I would
Jeff
agree.
Goldblum as the alien, and he's
Yeah,
like, I don't know what it's. The alien is a metaphor for something, but I don't know what it's about yet.
yeah,
And then right after that, you have the conversation between Adrian Brody and Jason Schwartzman about
Yeah,
like what is
my
the story
favorite.
we're telling, and then it's like I don't know, just keep telling it. There's
Yep.
something. So
Yeah.
like even Wes Anderson by this point, I feel like doesn't really know where he wants to go with
Mhm.
his future. If I had to like analyze him here, because he's made that film that so far has remained the peak of his career. Um, and he seemed to have, through that and the others, said all the stories he has wanted to tell. And this feels like a reflection of that, where it's another film very much in his style. It's still an evolution of his filmmaking techniques, um, but he's still like almost absent a little bit of the purpose of it, and so he's just more so
Analyze.
outwardly admitting it. Um, but even so, like I do feel more emotionally connected to this than I do French Dispatch by a wide margin, I would say.
Agree. Yeah. Um, there's that that spark is still in this film that I found lacking in the Phoenician scheme, where it's trying to tackle something. He's trying to uh, explore some sort of, in this case, very abstract idea of storytelling and being an artist and that connection with um, being seen by an audience. Um, but there are moments in this film which are so poignant and so beautiful and like powerful. Um, I remember seeing that one scene with Margot Robbie, who just has that one scene with Schwartzman
Mm-hmm.
in the theatrical version of the story.
Yeah,
And they just have a dialogue across the street, and it's one of my favorite shots, maybe of all time. It's that good. I love it so much, and the dialogue that they have, I think, really kind of hits the nail on the head as to what this film is about. Um, there's more to it than that, obviously, because the reason why the film is made is like why you have to watch the whole thing is like the themes are throughout the entire filmmaking project process. Um, but there's a lot of really impactful moments. Scarlett Johansson has a few within the actual story of
mm-hmm.
the movie. It's so difficult to talk about how things are playing out, but there's a lot to find value in, despite how abstract and like fragmented it is, because you are like jumping between versions of the story with like one of it
Yeah, different
being
frameworks.
adapted. It's really tough to follow, but for that reason, I think I found more value out of it than some of his other stuff, just because it's more
Yeah,
demanding, a little more engaging because of that. Although I can very much understand why people would hate that and like why it would bounce off because it's not at all as straightforward as more of his like the Darjeeling or Grand Budapest or
yeah,
whatever. Um, there's uh, just a more meta aspect to it that seems like it's maybe for his like super fans or just for himself or for people who are less interested in his more I don't know, standard narratives. But I definitely understand if people have it lower on their lists or um, even higher. For me, it's an interesting middle, being really heady and introspective, um, with being mostly watchable. I think there's definitely elements to it that are rough to follow, and therefore I can't really put it up with something as coherent as our higher ranked movies.
mm-hmm.
But that's why it's about middle of the pack for me.
Yeah. Um, I do like this film quite a bit, and I definitely enjoyed it more on a second watch than I did the first. It was sort of invert of Darjeeling, which just reflects the sort of takeaways and the thoughts and like what the films would potentially leave you with. And I do like this one quite a bit. It's still got sort of that emotional core with Jason Schwartzman and his kids, and them dealing with sort of the death of their mother there, and then it's also got quite the wide ensemble that it stretches beyond. And you get a lot of good small moments with them. I do really like the super brainiac kids in their little group just doing like the random games where they're bad at them because they're too smart and for they're like for normal people where they would like go and order of saying famous people's names, but they were all like
Like,
really long and complicated.
oh, yeah,
So just silly stuff like that. Um, and again, you get like a lot of silly moments. Like in this, I like Jeffrey Wright as the military commander guy, and he's like doing the announcement of the whatever the science fair ceremony thing that's happening, and then he's like starting to narrate his life, and he does like this action pose all of a sudden, like the camera and like lighting changes all around him. It's really funny and just like completely out of nowhere. Um,
mhm,
so you get a lot of it's basically moment to moment of we're examining this group of characters now. Okay, now we're on to these guys, and we're doing this thing. It feels like a constant moving and cycling of scenes and characters and whatnot. And then every once in a while, you bounce between that and the okay, well now we're on the stage of the production, and now we're back on the production and stuff like that. And you're still sort of messing with the stop motion because that's what the Alien was, right? It was.
yeah. That seems
Um,
like
So
um,
you get some of that in, and for some of his other live action films, he's done that for effects. He's very different when it comes to effects compared to most filmmakers, because for most of them it'll be like put that shit on the green screen and
yeah,
CGI it. And he will use green screens, but he'll use them in a much more stylized method. That
he does a lot of miniature work or like blending miniatures with uh, real shots,
yeah, and
which
stop
makes it a
motion
really
also. Like in this one in Life Aquatic, he has some of that for the animals rather than like we need to get footage of a fucking turtle going by or
like
animate
a
that somehow. It's like just the super
yeah.
stylized like paper mache almost sort of thing. It's fun in that film, but that's not the one we're talking about. Um, but Asteroid City, like it's nice. Again, you're doing that sound change stuff where Bryan Cranston is on the stage and you're
Mhm.
hearing him talk, and then it goes into like the sound room above the stage, and it transitions both in visual and audio because then you see him on the TV in that room, and the audio is completely different. Like he is this film is a playground almost for him, as is the French Dispatch. That's why they're sort of seem like a package. Um, but the reason why this one is so much separated from that is because at least for me the interpretability is more so there, even though it sort of is in both of those for you, right? Um, but I did feel a stronger emotional connection to this one because of that core of the main family dynamic. And I do think the relationship he has with the son is quite good. And by the time the father-in-law gets back and they're like driving off away
Yeah.
from each other, like I like the credit song quite a bit. It stuck out to me on the second viewing. I just couldn't get out of my head because it
Well,
the
he
the
normally
verse. I don't know if you remember it, but it
I
feels
this one.
yeah, it feels sort of like a nursery rhyme almost, or like a nursery song for like the verses, and then it transitions into like this just humming, but it feels mystical, otherworldly. Like I don't know how to describe
He has
this
a
weird
lot of
like melancholy, cool
drums.
thing.
Yeah. Throughout his filmography, I know Darjeeling has some really good needle drops.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Bottle Rocket even his very first one. I think he has a good uh, understanding of music and when to
Did
use.
you know
Like
the credit song for Asteroid City before watching the film? Because I'd never heard it before.
I don't even remember it at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
I have to rewatch it, but
I feel like it's either written for this film or it's just so specific. I don't know. But I do know what you're talking about though with the music choices in his other films.
yeah,
Like for Darjeeling, stuff definitely sticks out. He wanted to use one of the songs as the credit song for Bottle Rocket, and he eventually used it in another film, which I forget, but just reflects the more student-like film indie project that was his first film versus now he's can't afford the music rights a little bit, which is cool.
exactly.
Um,
Um,
oh, one last detail: watching this in order. Also, one of the nice things is you get to see Jason Schwartzman play a 15-year-old, and then now he's playing a 40-year-old fully fledged adult and stuff. And like that's just nice to see that
yeah, he's come a long way.
transformation over
He's
time,
a
sort of.
full actor now.
Yeah, still the same as an actor almost. I mean, it's just a different role, you know. But
Exactly.
seeing that's nice and stood out to me, and it was one of the more positive things to get out of seeing it in order, you know, because again, one of my main takeaways was you were there and then you lost me.
Mm.
Still made good movies though, so I cannot be mad at you. You still
Yeah,
entertained me within the comfort of my home, and you made really good stuff. And that's definitely what Asteroid City is. It's definitely grown on me over time, I would say.
it's one of those films where
Mm-hmm.
first watch is going to be a little fragmented, a little disjointed, strange, um, but with a lot of meat to it and a lot of interesting things that you can glean from
Mm-hmm.
him and his direction. Um, but
I got
that
my
was
number five now.
tell me
And my number five, Peter, is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
hell yeah, it's a fun
Mm-hmm.
one. I have it a little lower, uh, just because I think it's not as well paced in my eyes as some of his other stuff. Um, it's a little long, and um,
Yeah,
there are certain scenes that don't work as well for me. But beyond that, I love the cast. The cast is great. I love all the acting.
the ensemble is really
Performances
good in this one.
are really good. Um, and the set design, we say it all the time, but I love the ship. I love the
It's so
different
fun.
rooms
The
and
and like when they're going up it from
yeah,
like the outside, it's basically just a.
exactly. It's just
They're
all
just admitting
it's
that it's a set. Like it's fun.
and it works so well. Super impressive. And like you said, the use of miniatures or blended stop motion with um, actual real life filmmaking.
Yeah, like
It,
the actual shark thing is like this massive puppet that like goes around. It's really fun the way that they um, have stylized the visual effects. And this one, it's maybe reflected the most because you get some of those aquatic creature things happening every once in a while. Um, but I did really dig this film a lot more on second watch. Also, like somehow the emotional connecting things did not happen for me the first time, but did the second time somehow. Again, it's that is a very similar found family where Owen Wilson is presumably
yeah,
the son of
yep.
uh, Bill Murray, but like they don't really know. And I mean, supposedly he's not because apparently he cannot. His seed is not the type of seed that can be
Mm.
fully planted or whatever. But also
Yeah.
sometimes you get those. I mean, at least in fiction, I don't know how accurate it is in real life, but sometimes you get those miracle seeds. You know that somehow randomly occur.
It definitely feels similar to Royal Tenenbaums and that sort of family dynamic with a father that is problematic. Um,
You
very
get
interesting
Angelica Houston again as the
as the mother.
mother,
From,
presumably like half mother in this case, but
I guess that's yeah. There's it's really I have to wonder why he often takes these uh, story archetypes or character dynamics and uses them so often.
mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it. Obviously, I love all of his stuff, but it does make you wonder. I think it's done very well in this one. Uh, the character growth that you get to know throughout the story is really satisfying. Each of the arcs is understandable and believable and dramatic. Um, I really like my favorite aspect of the movie is definitely how it looks and like the various different sets that they go to. I love the island at the end with like the flooded buildings and all
Mm-hmm.
the ramshackle stuff, the sub itself, and all the different costumes and the iconography is just like really stand out
I
in
love
this
their
one.
uniform.
Yeah, it's iconic. Just the beanie and the blue. It looks excellent. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, really fun one.
I like this movie also because some of his better works, he's taken like this mix of real life experiences with some form of inspirations. And in this case, there was like an actual oceanographer, whatever the term is, who has a similar name, Jacques Cousteau, right?
Yep,
Who also wore a similar red beanie. So he's just taken that person who actually existed and sort of forming a over the top
fantastic.
character after that, which I do really like Bill Murray in this role. This is probably my favorite role of his in a at least in a Wes Anderson
Yeah,
thing.
I would
To be
agree.
fair, he's the lead in this, which he's not so often in others. Actually, no, there's actually a role that I like him in more. Now that I'm thinking about it, But he's really good in this one. And like the ensemble as a whole is a lot of fun. I love Jeff Goldblum as like his sort of rival, who's also sort of after his wife and just like wears a completely different uniform
Yeah.
and is like just sort of like being cocky, manipulative. But then also they rescue him at the end, which in that
Yeah.
moment he's wearing this "I'm a Dr. Pepper" shirt, which in the '93 student film version of Bottle Rocket, one of the characters is wearing that also. Not the exact same shirt, presumably, but just watching them in order that stuck out. I was like, wait a minute,
I've seen that before.
that's a Dr. Pepper shirt in the some other person had. So that's
Yeah.
something
And
that I
10
don't
years
know.
down the line, he had that in the wardrobe, and he's like, maybe we can use that again.
Yeah, just fucking smelly hasn't been watched since 12 years ago or whatever. Um, so yeah, again, like I don't know what it is about this one necessarily that makes it in my eyes stick out that much more. I definitely like it more than Darjeeling, and I feel as though I do like it more than um, Asteroid City here. By the end of the final moment where they're like all putting his hand on his shoulder, that's nice. That's fun,
Yeah,
and that's
Presence.
it's over the top in the way that like the shit goes down and Owen Wilson fucking dies. Like it's sort of silly,
Oh, yeah.
but it also is able to form somehow amidst that the I feel like another solid emotional core here
Definitely.
within this
It,
film.
I like the kind of aspect of it being a documentary, or like it's
That
not
too.
a mockumentary, but it's close because it's so comedic. But there's work with the framing of the story, and he already has like a documentary that is being shown, and then he's like, "Oh, what are you up to next?" It's like, "I'm gonna kill that shark," and it's just like works.
Yeah, it's very funny. Um,
Have
yeah,
actors.
there's also the part where they're rescuing Jeff Goldblum. Not really, because they're trying to rescue their insurance guy who got captured by pirates, and Jeff Goldblum just happens to be there. And that whole moment of scenes and the whole setting there in that like abandoned hotel or whatever on the jungle island is so sick. Um, so like that moment's a lot of fun in there, and it stands out. I feel like.
Yeah, it's just a very cohesive film. I think it all complements itself. The humor and the dramatic moments.
Yeah,
It works better than some of his other stuff that is a little more fragmented or maybe less impactful, less memorable.
yeah.
Um,
But like you said, it is a little bit long. I feel like maybe 10, 20 minutes could have been cut out somewhere at some point because a lot of his other films are 90 minutes. This one
Usually,
is it over 2 hours? I guess
it's
I should
just about 2 hours. I
say.
think it's 150 something.
This one says 119. So yeah, pretty much. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's still nice though, obviously, and we like it. Who would have thought?
As your number five, what is your
Yes,
next?
sir. So what
So
is your number five?
oh yeah, don't you?
It would be your number five.
It's not okay. It's my number five. Okay. Well, we were talking about number 15-year-old Jason Schwartzman.
Hmm.
And his breakout film Rushmore is my
Mm-hmm.
number five.
Okay.
I like it quite a bit.
That's very
Even
fair.
so, like it quite a bit. But that brings me to number four, right? Snake Wise, which is looking at my list now. I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep it as I wrote it. The Royal Tenenbaums is my
Okay.
number four.
Okay.
We're getting to the cream of the crop
The
now.
pinnacle
It's
of this man's existence.
yeah,
Yeah. For me, number four is Rushmore. So not too far off
not too
from
far off.
where you put that one. This is his sophomore picture.
Yep. And it's impressive that, both of us have Bottle Rocket in our bottom two, and to make
His second
such a
film in the top five. It
um,
just goes to show how big of a difference this is,
yeah,
where it feels more stylized, um,
2
and
years.
the actual premise of it is hilarious, right? Because like if you somehow did not know the ages of the characters, it seems very basic. Like, oh, girl likes or boy likes girl, girl doesn't necessarily like boy, boy seeks uh, the advice of another guy, and then that guy
Mhm.
and the girl sort of start having a thing. But then you put in the ages and like the roles and the settings they're in,
Yeah,
and it's just
a little bit.
hilarious.
Yeah,
It's just so weird and out there. Um,
it's I rewatched it somewhat recently, and it was very reminiscent of Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza in that sort of age
mm,
dynamic. But this one
sure.
is much more interested in the characters rather than his exploration of Paul
In
Thomas
this one,
Anderson.
the age dynamic is turned down, unlike
Yes,
that film. For one thing
yes,
of
I guess
comparison,
check it.
and that's why this film is better.
Yeah, although depiction does not obviously uh,
Meaning that the author agrees with that and
evidence or
promotes it.
endorsement.
Very
Yeah,
correct, Peter. Because we
but
have to say that, or else
yeah,
people, if we ever got
this
viewers,
one
they'd be like,
it's definitely
"What does he mean by
the age
that?"
gap is definitely played for comedy, which I
Yeah,
think
which is strange, but works.
just because I think as a breakout role, Jason Schwartzman crushed it.
Oh, he's
Um,
perfect as
fit
this character.
very
He
well.
was born to be whatever the
It
fuck
does
this
feel
dude
like that.
was.
Yeah, Max Fisher. It
Hmm.
just this is also, I guess, his first because it's his second film exploration of this sort of archetype where you have a child that's very precocious but also very awkward, someone who's
He
beyond his
feels
years.
almost like Jason Schwartzman's son in Asteroid City, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Except
Um,
he was more bright. In this, he's a super omega tryhard, but he like sucks at the things that he tries at. It is like the general take because his grades are bad, but he's in like two. He's in like probably half the clubs in the school or more than that.
all of the
Half of it
extracurriculars and
as
just
the captain
and
or
he's like
whatever.
manager. Yeah,
And
exactly.
he's a very interesting character, right? Because of that, and because he's a very thoughtful person, and he also loves his plans and
Yeah.
schemes, sort of like some of the other Wes Anderson characters. Um, where he's coming up with all the ideas of like, okay, the teacher likes aquariums, so now I got to figure out how to get an aquarium at the fucking school and just like mega simp out to her, because maybe she'll go to the dance with me or something. I don't know, whatever he's planning up in his head. Um,
Yeah, it's charming in the way that it's unsuccessful, but obviously he cares a lot about so many things.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, he has a lot of these kind of characters where they're obviously very intelligent, but like not wise, like not very
He's
street
very well
smart.
spoken because he reads a lot, but it's almost like high intelligence, low wisdom, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, is how I would put it. Um, but regardless, it created a fantastic protagonist to follow. And then, is this your favorite
Yes.
role?
What's his name? Bill Murray.
Right, the one
That
of the
yeah, he's.
best of all time.
I mean, I do. I don't know. Steven Suso is also a lot of fun. In this one, I enjoy the role of it much more, where he's
I
both his mentor, but then also the dude sort of getting with the girl that he likes.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's again, it's a weird and out there premise, but it's a lot of
It's very
fun, and it's
humorous.
executed very well. I love the dinner scene where he's so like high on his emotions of like I fucking made a play and I'm just the greatest ever, and he's like getting pissed at like what was the
Whiskey.
boyfriend? Was it Luke Wilson? Was
Yes,
it like the nurse boyfriend or whatever that he was trying to seem cooler than?
it's like, so
It's
how
such
do
a
you
good
know?
moment.
You're like, it's like,
And I love the intro scene of Bill Murray just to like show his situation so easily where with like the he's
yeah.
got this two twin kids twin sons or are they different ages I don't
Oh,
remember
yeah,
but he has those and they're like shitheads and annoying and he doesn't like them and they don't really like him and then he's got his wife who's cheating on him and he's just like they have like a pool party he's just like being miserable sitting by himself with some whiskey
cool.
and a cig and yeah doing just throwing golf balls in the pool or
I
something
think so.
or
He's
were
just
they
has
ping
like
pong balls I
big
don't know
bucket of
he climbs up the um ladder. He jumps in. I was gonna be
yeah,
like, did he not jump in? But that was sort of the debate, and just like a solid setup to look at this depressed dude with a waning love life who wants that filled in some way.
yeah.
So like you see the motivation behind why he also takes interest in
Hmm.
this teacher lady who
But
Jason
also why
Schwartzman admires, and also
his
why
wife
he's more readily
has
to
friendship
connect
with
with
him.
them to begin with again
Yeah,
because of the
yeah, exactly.
sort of lack of connection. So
Yep. It's just like an interesting friendship born out of strange circumstances and a romance that blossoms both ways. But yeah, it's a very tight, very fun, engaging debut or sophomore film that he created, um, that still stands the test of time, even
Definitely.
now, 20 years later.
Yeah.
Damn, damn.
Over
Just
20.
years.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and like by the end, he's sort of reformed, and he's like, oh, I'm not into the teacher anymore. He's like focusing on the playing other things, and there's almost not too much contributing to that. It feels like almost a somewhat sudden change from what I can remember, and there's sort of similar vibes I get from that from another film we'll discuss, where they have a very obvious problem for so much of the film, and then at the very end, there's a sort of quick turnaround, which for whatever reason I'm forgiving of in both of them. And I
Yeah.
actually find that to be quite nice to be like, oh, it's that simple,
Right.
right?
Because
Almost sort of
the
thing.
work has been done for the character development,
Yeah.
and then it's almost like it feels almost like an epilogue where we're just going to be like, okay, this is where they end up,
Hmm.
uh, even though oftentimes it's played directly after, like chronologically in the story. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
And you get a nice
it's just
final scene in this one where he has like this bully person, and he eventually somehow invites the bully into the play, and they're doing the play, and everybody loves it, and the ensemble is like talking afterward, and somehow his parents or whoever are talking with the nurse Luke Wilson, and like random stuff like that, and you get like all of these sort of rapid fire at the end,
that you've
random
seen.
characters interacting with each other. um it's just nice. It's somehow, despite its like weird out there premise, it's not only funny but honestly very uplifting, I feel like.
Yeah, yep, very genuine. Has that sort of that heart that is found at so many of his my favorite films of his.
Hmm.
Really fun.
Yeah, this one's great. This one's awesome because this one is, I think, for me, where it jumps from 7 to 8
Yeah,
for rankings as far as those go. So
I think it's just
two
about that.
thumbs up for that one.
Oh yeah. But you're
um
number three. We're getting up there.
Number 3, didn't you have to say number 4 for you?
No, I said Royal Tenenbaums, right? And then that was my four. And
Yeah. Okay, so then I say my 3.
so you said this is so tough.
Let me recount. Yeah, I do my number 3. Because you already said your number 3, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, my
I
number
said
3, or yeah, my number 3 is Fantastic Mr. Fox.
okay, because my number three is Moonrise Kingdom, which
Hmm.
was your number six. Is that where you had
Mine
it?
mine was 8 somehow.
Eight. Eight. Okay. So I'm very curious as to how the rewatch
Yeah,
handled it for you
I don't
because
know what
I'm a big
happened,
I haven't
honestly.
rewatched in a while.
Yeah,
So
because
you have more.
previously, if I pull up my old list ranking, this was number 2 for me, but for
It's up
some
there.
reason it jumped way down, and part of that was maybe I liked this one less. Part of it was maybe I liked other ones more. And this one again, the ensemble is quite good, and it has this core of the two kids where they're starting off exchanging notes, and then they meet up and ditch their camps and go on a little adventure there. Excuse me, which is fun, and I guess this one maybe has the best romance plot thing
One
because
of my
it
favorites.
seems
Yeah.
weird to say because they're in like grade school.
12 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, or I guess they're in middle school. I don't know. But this one, like, it is also a lot of fun. You have that whole camp setting, and you have Edward Norton doing the control of one
Mm,
camp, and then
sorry.
eventually in the film you go to the other one with what's his name in charge there, and then Jason Schwartzman being sort of like a shady, like a shadier camp counselor who's like helping them escape and like get around and stuff, and doing the fake wedding ceremony thing for them in exchange for like they give him cigarettes or something. I don't remember actually.
Exactly.
They give him
He's
some
like one
random
of
thing.
the counselors that doesn't want to be there. And it's just
He's
like,
wearing sunglasses probably because he's high as fuck all the
ex-
time. 24 blazing it.
hell
Um,
yeah.
it's like again the film is a lot of fun. I honestly I don't know what
I dropped
made
it
it
to
fall off so hard for me.
yeah.
Um, because for the other ones we've already talked about, I definitely like those more than this one.
Yeah.
I don't know, because again, you get the when they're exchanging the letters. I think it does show them a little bit, and they're very. It feels intrinsically detailed if it does show them. or I'm making things up, but that's how my memory is working currently. Um, so yeah, I mean, like there's the workings of what you want out of a Wes Anderson film, where you have the main core, usually a pair, to work with. They go on some sort of journey, and it alternates between them and this ensemble who's interacting with them and also each other. So um, I don't know if you want to say some perhaps
I mean,
more positive words about the thing.
yeah, I think it's just one of his most charming films. It's the way he crafted it feels so much like it's from the perspective of a child, of someone very young, caught up in that young love. Um, and the entire film is drenched in that sort of
It feels very
emotion,
nostalgic.
very nostalgic, very much like a summer film. I love like just the plot device of the storm in the background as a sort of uh, kind of an impetus for the courses of the film. Um, and then also just the various different character dynamics between the parents and the children in and of themselves,
Yeah,
the counselors, the
police,
wider
and when they're like
ensembles.
communicating to the, I don't know if they're FBI or like what sort of
Is
thing
some,
there.
yeah. I think it just works so well.
Coast Guard, I
Performance
think. I don't remember.
as having child actors, it's pretty impressive. It works very
Yeah,
well here.
really, really good. Like across
They're
the
not
board, from the main
nice.
two to like sort of the bullies who like go and try to
Yeah,
capture them and bring them back.
they're not necessarily children, but they perform well regardless. Like, and I think it just their delivery works well within the film. It fits the whole direction of everyone else's performance. Everything seems cohesive. There's still that sort of storyboard or like storybook aspect to how things are presented and the production design. Um, I just I haven't watched it in a while, to be clear. So maybe it would drop on rewatch. But I
Probably
remember
not. I
being
feel like it's a random personal
charmed
thing
by
for me.
it. It could be. um,
Because this is
but
one of
yeah,
his other more higher in terms of average rating. 4.0. It's the same as
mhm,
Isle of Dogs. Um, so like by the end, the big emotional thing is he's like an orphan, and then he gets adopted by Bruce Willis, who was sort of the cop, and you get like vaguely enough of the motivation for him wanting to do that, and for it to be the protagonist specifically. But I think that may have been the thing upon rewatch where I was like, I just didn't believe in that as much as I did the first time, where I don't know, accepted it in a in an easier sort of way. But for this time, I was just bought into it slightly less. I don't know. It
there's
might have been
definitely
that.
there's definitely an element to like you have to suspend your disbelief for the whole course of the movies.
The premise
Like
itself. The other thing, I
it,
don't like it when they're like making out. It's like, can we not do that? Like, don't do that,
yeah,
Wes.
that
What are we
is
doing? He's like
playing
on
out.
the set with
It,
only the two of them and himself, and he's like, all right, now it's
yeah,
fucking
which I mean, how do you film that? Like,
just
how can you
don't,
be respectful
just
about it?
don't.
No, that's the answer. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the one aspect of it that I have a
I
hard
could
time swallowing.
imagine it. I don't want to, but I could foresee a billion other. If like other people had to do it, direct it,
Film it.
and handle it, it would be so much worse, right?
Hmm.
Um, like if I had to give it any credit. But again, I feel it unnecessary. Like both times I watched it, I'm just like both times I watched it, it was like, bruh, get this shit out of my
Yeah,
face. But
I
like the
think I
rest of the
can.
film is really, and like every single moment even surrounding that, it's
Mm,
still so good and so solid. Like when they're on the beach and they found their little hideout to go to.
the 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I really like this film. Um, I think it's very kind and gentle and uplifting
Yeah,
amongst his other stuff, and it's just like generally hopeful, optimistic view on young love and even old love and old relationships in general. It's just a really fun time. Um, very much like a family movie. Uh,
yeah,
also about dysfunctional families and
yeah.
similar themes that we've already covered. But this one has the unique lens of being from the perspective of the children,
Yeah.
which I think works in making it stand out from the rest of his films, as well as give it just like a unique hue that honestly there aren't a ton of movies that I can directly compare it to, um, despite
There's
perhaps
the only
similar.
ones that would follow kids of this age so intimately or tightly would be adaptations of books that do that. That like there aren't really unique
Non
film made stories.
or
I feel like that are doing this sort of thing because it's difficult. It's really tricky to have kids perform in a particular way that you want them to. Like it's hard enough to do that with professional adults, right? So it's most likely even more difficult to do that with people whose brains aren't even developed
yeah,
enough in the way to be thinking about uh,
how to
whatever acting techniques may be
yeah,
required. Which for this, I mean, they're kids acting as kids, so they very much do not feel like the oh it's a kid, but we're like they talk
writing.
like an adult because
Yeah,
that's just how the adult wrote them because they don't understand kids. You know what I mean? Like this one feels like oh they're kids and we recognize that
yeah,
a
it
bit
feels
more.
authentic to them. Um, and yeah, it's just like it's so hard to get good children actors or just good performances out of
Yeah.
them. And this one is a
I
standout.
feel like since his dialogue is so stylized, it could sort of disguise that a bit.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
because I mean, if they're doing a more sort of straight faced sort of thing with every once in a while they're yelling around and just like not at all talking like a normal person still. I feel like by that metric they're able to sort of you can
Because
believe in the performance a lot more
yeah,
since it's so stylized.
which hey, just another way that his style works well
Mm-hmm.
for various different performances,
Mm-hmm.
captures, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah.
do want to also mention I should have talked about it when we talked about another film, but he has some short films that specifically tie to an existing property. Like, I mean, some of these you could barely even call them short films. There's this one for, he has two for Moonrise Kingdom specifically. There's this one called Do You Like to Read? And it's basically just, what's his name? Uh, Narrating the fucking Bob Balaban, who's in some of Wes
Mm,
Anderson's films. And he in Moonrise Kingdom, he's like the lighthouse keeper or some shit. I don't know. He appears in like one
yeah.
or two scenes. I forget. And in this thing, Do You Like to Read? It's just him explaining the stories that the girl has because she's like, in one of the scenes in the film, she's like lore dumping him about things that she likes when it comes to
To read.
fictional
Yeah.
works.
Stories.
So they like made up some stories for her to talk about. And this Do You Like to Read thing is basically just here's that in a little bit more depth because we had to plan it out in some way for the making of the film, so we just want to show it off slightly. So that's all that is really. And then there's this other one called Kazan Ben Troop Screening, which for some reason I have two spaces between Ben and Troop in my document. Um, and this is basically just something that they would play in the theaters for this film, where Cousin Ben is Jason Schwartzman's character, and he's basically the bouncer of this camp tent that is on a projector, presumably going to show the film that we in the audience would see. So he's basically just like letting the kids in or out based upon certain things. It's fun and it's nice. The both of those, I guess, but they exist. And then for one of the other films, Darjeeling Limited has this prequel called Hotel Chevalier, which is Natalie Portman is in that movie for like the last 5 minutes or something in the train. And she's Jason Schwartzman's girlfriend, ex girlfriend in that movie, and it's like what is sort of on his mind and preventing him from feeling positively about his own life and just moving on and living in the moment with his brothers and whatnot. And so this Hotel Chevalier shows sort of the last moments of their relationship before he went on the trip, and it's decent. It's nice. It's noteworthy, questionably, because it's the first and I think only time Natalie Portman did like a nude scene I think that's what it's known for, which I did
Right.
not label it with that recognition. So,
Hmm.
which you can't even see anything, and she's got it like covered up. But apparently, she didn't like doing that, and that's why she has not done it since. So we have Wes Anderson to thank for why we don't see her naked and everything, I guess. So,
Oh no.
but other than that, it was simple. It was just them in a hotel room explaining and talking about their relationship and maybe almost sort of getting into things and sort of not getting into things. Um, so it was sort of nice and slightly, and it was different though. It was a bit out there slightly for him and his stuff. I feel like, but it exists.
But not on our ranking list.
Yeah,
They do.
I just wanted to talk about it though because I did 100% this man's catalog, and
Okay, okay.
I forgot to mention it during that. Let me double check if there's not anything else connected to anything. There's like two independent sort of film things which I'll talk about before we talk about number one. I think so. I'll save it for that. But that was my number. What? God damn, 8. You're number 3.
Yep.
Okay.
So I go to 2, which is the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Hmm. That's a good number 2. For me, number 3 is that film, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
It's a good one.
Next one. No.
It's his, like we've said, his another adaptation of a Roald Dahl
Yeah.
novel. This one in his first endeavor with stop motion animation, and
As like the main media
yeah,
thing of the film, because he already sort of messed with it with Steve Zissou, right?
mhm.
Which came out before. Yeah. So.
Yeah. This one though is so much fun. So I think it's maybe his funniest in my opinion.
Really.
I love it so much. All the performances and the way that the animation serves the humor is so good sometimes. Um, I love all the performances. I think you said that you like Isle of Dogs voice acting better, perhaps.
Overall,
I think this is still stronger for me. I love Clooney as Mr. Fox. I think
he's
he
really
does
good.
such a good job with the character. And then Schwartzman as the kid is also good as just like a pissy boy, just like kind of trying to major chip on his shoulder. Um, and all of the various different ensemble roles are also excellent. Um, yeah, it's just super funny, ton of heart, dysfunctional family, father has to come into terms with being a father and being responsible. It's just it's great. I love it. I love it so much.
Willem Dafoe is the rat.
I'm yeah,
So good.
excellent. What thing gets a little bit of cider at the end.
Cider.
Cider. This I'll have to rewatch it again, but this might go up to a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just one of those
Yeah.
movies for me. It's so good. I find nothing bad with it when I'm watching it. It's just so enjoyable.
hmm Yeah. I've seen this film 4 times at least. Like once when I was way younger, which at that point I had no idea who this Wes Anderson guy was. And in that state of my existence, I was comparing it to the book, and I was like, it doesn't have this scene in it. This scene is missing from the book. The wolf is not a thing. The rescue of the cousin is way different or doesn't exist at all. I don't remember. But that was like my headspace of it the first time. And when I revisited it upon watching a bunch of movies, I definitely enjoyed it a lot more. And then I eventually watched it again somewhat recently with my brothers, and then again for the ranking of this list. And it is beautiful. Like this man loves. It's such a good fall movie because there's a lot of browns, a lot of oranges, a lot of yellows. It's just it looks so nice.
So good.
It looks so nice. And I do think it is immensely funny. Also, you get the scene where Dumbledore, I forget the actor's name, but he's like the
Yeah.
character he's playing, Beans or whatever, is like smashing his trailer out of rage.
Yeah.
It's such a good moment. The stop motion is really good again in Isle of Dogs. I think it is a step up, but it's this film is such a treat to look at and listen to and witness unfold. Again, you get it's almost a similar character to the Owen Wilson Bottle Rocket, where it's a schemer, sort of do with plans, and those plans don't really work. This one almost sort of leans a bit more into it, um, where I mean the heist was the center of Bottle Rocket, but in this it feels like a more established sort of thing, and like
Yeah,
because in Bottle
heavier.
Rocket I still don't even really understand why they were motivated to begin with to
Sure.
do those things and why specifically they went for the thing they went for. And this it's a lot more legible. It's a lot more understandable the things that they're doing and the reason they're doing it. And so you get this fantastic. Yeah, I said it. I said the thing. Roll credits. You get this fantastic protagonist here, and with the relationship between his son and now this sort of nephew person they're taking in for a little bit, um, and the relationship that forms between him and the son, and it's again it's a lot of fun and it's a wonder to look at, and I am happy to be alive in the same timeline as this film existing. It also has the song "Heroes and Villains" by the Beach Boys that plays in it. And when I was rewatching it with my brothers, I did not remember that the song had existed. Which for me, it's uh, one of my favorite songs that in existence. It's this weird like unfinished masterpiece,
Yeah.
sort of perfect thingy for me. And I don't think I've ever heard it in another piece of media, from film to television to whatever, or like another person even mentioning it besides this film. So I think when we were rewatching it, my brothers both turned to me when it was playing. He's like, "Bro, that's your thing. That the thing
Yeah.
that they're doing." I was like, "Oh shit, no fucking way."
Yo, he knows.
So that's cool, also, right?
Yeah.
If a film has your favorite song or one of your, and it plays it in a rather fun scene, right?
It gets a few
That's
bucks for
cool
that.
too. But definitely that sticks out. Willem Dafoe as the rat dude is a lot of fun. Also, I have to say again, um, and in a lot of these films, the standout is Willem Dafoe, which I mean we'll get to in one of the future ones.
And for someone who was such a small role in every film, he's like, or all of Wes Anderson's
I
films,
love
he's
him in
never had
Steve's
a
so
role.
also.
Exactly. He's just like shows up in the background,
He has a very
has a
strong presence.
strong character that he's committed to, and you fully believe in him. And most of the times, it's at odds with other characters. He serves as a bit of a foil to many of them.
And this one
Just
he's yeah the foil.
he's literally an antagonist. But yeah, this just this movie so good. Um, the framing of everything and how everything is shot is just so aesthetically pleasing. The way he uses your miniatures, your stop motion, and the way he deals with scale, and it's just it's so good. It's so tight. It's so clean. There's I can't think of any wasted like moment in the
Yeah,
story.
no, yeah,
All just greater themes, character development. Excellent movie. Excellent. For my
great
number
ending
two.
too, where they're in the supermarket and just dancing away. For some reason,
Yeah.
the girl from their class isn't there. She doesn't really have a strong connection to
Yeah.
be there, but I don't. I forgive it because I'm like I don't care. This is
Cool.
cool, sort of
Is this
thing.
the film that you were talking about when you have an ending that seems a bit out of uh it seems like it's a happy ending that is maybe not super justified, but I didn't really care because you have them in the sewers and they're like uh kind of down on their luck, but they you reap what you sow. There's consequences to his actions of
Mm-hmm.
heist.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
they've found family, they found friends, they have a good setup in the sewers. And then also they have access to a grocery
The
store with
supermarket.
all of the various farmers things. So
Mm-hmm.
you also get that as a cherry on top ending, which I don't think is justified necessarily, but
Okay.
I love it even regardless.
I don't remember if that happened in the book or what. If
Yeah,
that was its
I,
own thing.
it's a nice kind of thing to end off on.
Yeah, definitely. A fun time overall in Wes Anderson world. Again, the dialogue is stylized in a particular way, and the film looks really good. Like most of his tend to. So that's my number three. Your number two. Now my number two. Your number three or four, I think, is the Royal Tannenbaums. Which one for this was you?
Number four. Yeah.
Four? I
And,
could barely hear you. You gotta make sure you're holding the thing up
it's
correctly.
number four, and his first archetype for that dysfunctional family that we keep mentioning. Yeah, I think and
It's handled the
probably
best in this.
yeah. Also, is this also adapted from a Roald Dahl or Roald? It's
Uh,
adapted from.
maybe. I
Is
think
that
it's a
it?
made. I think it's a made up family.
Yeah. Okay. But it's framed in such way that it is a storybook, and
If yeah,
it's
in lore, because it like it opens up with. It's the first time he's playing with the narrative like that, where it starts off as a book of Royal Tannenbaums, and there's like chapters that it's going to. I don't actually think. I mean, we could verify it right now. Royal Tannenbaums book. It's just a film. I mean, there's like the Royal Tannenbaums 2002 introduction. Wes Anderson, Owen Wilson. So I guess there's just the script of it that you could buy that has the same title. So yeah,
no,
it's as far as film written narratives go, it's original.
which is impressive because it's one of his earlier films, and this one is one of his more grounded ones, or at least less fantastical than some of his later ones. But this one fits along with Rushmore and Bottle Rocket in it dealing with mostly human characters that are grounded in reality. But the characters and the family is just obviously the standout. It's all about their dynamics, their growth, their conflicts, and it's really close to flawless writing when it comes to that stuff. It's one of his better written movies, I think, in general.
Yeah,
And the the amount of depth that you get from these characters is so good. Um, Obviously, Luke Wilson has a standout role, and that one scene, everyone knows it.
when he's shaving.
Excellent, excellent needle drop, and man, it sticks with you. It's an iconic scene, and it
Yeah, this is
really
probably
just
the highlight of his career.
yeah,
I would say.
I would agree. And you know, the rest of the cast is just as strong. I think Ben Stiller has a fun role
Yes.
in this one, and then uh, Gene Hackman as the patriarch of the family is just a terrible person.
He's a
Um,
standout for sure. And there's some interesting things with him also, with the whole on set, he was sort of mean or annoying,
I,
where he was expecting some sort of like easy time with it. But I feel like the role was a little bit too true to his real life, where he wasn't the best father or family member or something in some way.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but maybe that aspect of it helps it make it feel more real, because this is one by the end where like he has that sort of sudden change almost out of nowhere seemingly, but when it does happen it's like, whoa, what do
yeah,
you mean he's giving the dude who's marrying his wife a handshake and it's like, here's the divorce papers, I
yeah.
already signed them. And then by the
It,
time you get to like the his death and the funeral and then the slow motion walking away, I'm just laying there like, oh my god, I can't believe it. It's genuinely so good. The emotional payoffs, right?
mhm,
What I'm sort of saying earlier, where this film 100% feels like an evolution of his past entries. Where, I mean, the difference between Rushmore and Bottle Rocket is quite a big leap, and the one between this and Rushmore is maybe equally as substantial.
yeah,
And like even from the beginning, where it's that book, and then we go into the book, and it's that narration from the outside of the house, showing like each of the kids on one story of it, and like zooming in from there. It's a wonderfully directed film with again, a really strong emotional core with a great ensemble. Like this one also is exactly what you want out of a Wes Anderson film, which by the end has that sort of positive vibes, not twist, but resolution that happens by the end of things. And again, I really think the heart of this is Gene Hackman. I was about to say Hugh Jackman. That they've if you just swap some of the letters in their names, it's that.
They're
But
basically the same.
um,
Yeah.
Gene Hackman in this, it's so good and such a standout. I feel even amidst the however many goddamn characters are in this film. Um,
Yeah.
it's a really nice. You could see exactly where it's going probably, but just because you can foresee the destination, but does not make the journey worthless or something. If I had to be
Some
dramatic and
it,
poetic, attempted.
it feels in the same lane of like a family drama like Little Miss Sunshine. Um,
Yeah.
but I prefer this one just
Oh yeah,
because
definitely. Same.
it feels a little more raw.
Yeah,
And
that one
even
it's like more heightened,
yeah,
like more like even more dramatized and a little bit more out there. And like I get it, and I like that film also. But this feels more grounded while also staying in within this unique style of filmmaking and speaking that the
yeah, it's
characters
like it's weird
sort of
to
go through
call it more real when it's still in that Wes Anderson
over the top.
stylized
Everything's
artificial
presented in
way.
this
Uh,
very particular way,
yeah, but
and,
because
and
it's all
and they're all like wearing clothes from the 70s or whatever because the idea is like they're all stuck in that time frame and they're trying to heal by reconnecting, or at least that's the thought of Gene Hackman's character. Which again, he's trying to rekindle connections, but he's doing so in just maybe the
he's
worst
trying to
way by like lying and manipulating
yeah,
everybody at all times.
yep.
And it creates funny moments, and then again by the resolution, it makes that all those scenes that much stronger.
He's definitely forced to face the consequences of what he's doing, which is why I think he's able to turn around towards the end. With
Hmm.
I was able to buy into his 360, 180, whatever.
Yeah, no, I do too. It just it's a quick 180.
And it's somewhat yeah optimistic, but that's just how his films are.
Hmm.
Yeah, very very good one, and a
Um,
good picture too.
yeah, I was gonna say someone else maybe. I forget though. That's always the problem with making these videos. I always have so many things to say, and I forget so many of them when it actually comes to the times in which we have to actually say words and speak versus just my thoughts on alone. But that's fine because I feel like we gave a good amount to say with this one. It's awesome. It's my second favorite, and it's just nice. Again, you get that slow motion ending of characters walking away. It goes hard.
He has a bit of
It's
a
like the Fast and the Furious, where Paul Walker's walking off, and then it's slow. It transitions into slow motion. It's
hell
just
yeah,
like that.
it's just like that.
Hold the mic closer. It's just like that. Um.
um,
So, but before we get to the number one, Peter, I do have to mention two of his other short film thingies. He has this one called Castello Cavalcanti, which is some Italian thing. It's with Jason Schwartzman, and it's about this race car driver who crashes mid race. And he's just like, well, I'm out, so I might as well hang out in this small Italian town thing where he finds like his ancestors or something, or like very distant relatives, and just sort of hangs out with them. It's nice. I don't know why it was made or what it was made for. It's like 5 minutes or some shit, 8 minutes. So a lot of these are very contained. I don't know where they come from or why he wants to do them, but it's there.
just
It
sign
exists. You could probably find it on YouTube or Daily Motion or whatever I watched this on. Um, and then he also has this one called "Come Together," which I don't think they play that Beatles song in it, though they might play a different one of the same title of the film, is what I mean. And this one is 4 minutes, and it's got Adrian Brody, and it's about it's Adrian Brody on a train again, but this time it's a Christmas themed train, because it's a Hallmark commercial, basically, is what the entire thing is for. I think it's Hallmark. Um, but the whole thing is just an ad, and it's just Adrian Brody on the train, and the people on the train celebrate Christmas together. Um, so it's that sort of positive, feel good thing. It's very short. As far as advertisements go, it's one of the best ones to ever have been created.
Okay.
I
Okay.
guess. I don't know what the bar is for that. It's probably not super high, but it feels like a Wes Anderson joint in terms of stylized
I guess that's what they pay.
conversations and the way it looks. It looks quite nice, though. It's again very simple. It's just basically one train set thingy. Um, so like me in saying all of these things about uh, this and the other various short things he did more so tied to other films of his. Um, if you want to 100% his filmography, it's not very difficult, guys. If I could do it, so can you. If you're gonna see all of his films, anyways, for the sake of this ranking, you might as well check out those. They're only 20 minutes in total.
Yeah. And it's quality throughout all of the entries. So something to get out of all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. But the one that has stuff to be gotten out of the most is United as our number one ranking, which I'll let you do the honors, Peter, of naming the film that is that.
And the one and only, the one that I've already mentioned, I guess, but it's the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There could be
I
no other in this position. It's
no, and anyone who knows me likely knows that it's my favorite film of all time. And there's just there's nothing bad I could ever say about this movie. It's just flawless in the way it's presented, the acting, all good across the board, incredibly funny, fantastic writing, great character work, dramatic, a ton of incredible payoffs, great ensemble work.
mm-hmm.
Love the soundtrack. It's iconic for me just because I've watched it so many times. Um, Nothing bad I could say about it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
This film is the definition of perfection. I feel like, because if people could not have figured it out, this is his peak. This is
This is the
the somewhat midpoint of his career by this point, where he's on that rise of making better and better films, generally speaking, at the very least from the production side of things. And it's where he hits that peak of that and the balance of legitimate emotional takeaways and resonating emotionally connecting characters. And that balance of the two of those things is what's able to make this one stand so much higher than the other ones in his filmography and most other films that have ever existed, really. Because it is your number one. It's within my top 10 vaguely, or it's top 11 or something. Let me pull that up real quick because I want to be
it's a 10 out
precise
of 10
here.
at least.
Oh, it's
Like
a
if it's
10.
in the field,
It's a super 10 out of 10 film. So
it's
for me,
just
I have it at number 7 right now. Is where I moved it most recently upon this rewatch. Where I've seen this one at least 3 times. Do you know how many times you have seen it? Like
actually like five
5.
plus. It's just one that is so incredibly accessible for how good it is. It's one you can watch with anyone. Everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's really, it is just so accessible to everyone. And it's impressive because, like you said, he's always balancing having really good characters or really good presentation or really good whatever humor, anything. This was the one where everything is operating at such a incredible capacity, and everyone involved is just at their peak.
Yeah.
This is Ray Fiennes' best role,
So,
and
yeah.
that's saying something because of how
He's a great
talented
actor, but in this,
he is.
it's
Husa.
something completely unique and so genuine.
Yeah,
And this is a really good example of Wes Anderson taking in his real life experiences and putting that into a story. because the character of Gustav is based upon this dude, this super overly flamboyant dude he knew in school or something. Um, and they're just forming that and creating a uh, fictional character sort of from it, and the premise of, oh, this dude would make a really good hotel concierge, and just like from there, and like you said, every single person in this film feels like they're treating it so seriously, and they're putting their A game into it, you know. And like, I mean, it's just beautiful, honestly. Like there's romance in this also, which if you narrow down the what that makes it up, it's there's not a whole lot to it. Um, but when you place it within this film, it works. It not only works, it works flawlessly. And this one also, you have that narrative bouncing between forms of, here's this book made by this person where there's this author character going into the hotel, but before that you get him in the present talking about the book in like the pre-author footnote thing that this girl is reading, and you go into that, and it's there's the 1960s version of the hotel, which is very orange and brown, and redone in a lot of ways, and it's got the lobby boy in the future explaining to the author about the story that he went on, and what is his name, Abrams, I forget his full name at the moment. What is it?
Abraham. F. Murray Abraham.
Yeah. Again, what I was saying about Darjeeling Limited with Adrian Brody in that film, where the best performances from a Wes Anderson film are going to be very subtle, and I mean he gives there's not a whole lot of lines with him in this one, right? But when it cuts back to him and he's talking about his wife and the war and stuff, like it's only like 3 lines,
Yeah.
and it's so simple, but it's delivered in like the most perfect way that, like, even right now thinking about it, I'm getting emotional. You know what I mean? Like
And
it's
dot,
so well handled.
and it just like dims in, and there's
Yeah,
the
and
focus.
the lighting changes around him. Oh, it's so
It's
good.
excellent. Yeah, because we've talked about his framing style a ton, and how extravagant he gets with it in things like French Dispatch or Asteroid City.
Yeah,
But this one feels
they
super to
connect
the
most heavily to the narrative
yeah,
in this one.
and like it's more of like a set dressing. You start with the book, then you take a brief look at the author, and then
Go to the author in
more
the past where he's at the
yeah,
hotel,
where he's kind of narrating the events of how he
and then
got the
most
story.
of the film is the
Is the
actual
actual
story focused on Gustav
yeah.
and the lobby
And,
boy, and like it's that framework, but it's understandable and
yeah,
it's
and you don't
fun.
really get pulled out of it at
Yeah,
all.
you get
Besides,
interrupted every once in a while where him and the author are at dinner, but like even like in those moments, it's
like we were just talking
just
about,
so
it's
masterfully done.
really excellent because there's a heart to it where you get the weight of the years that have passed, and you get like the the grandiosity of the Grand Budapest at its peak, and then in present day, or I guess not so present day, but you get a look at how far it's fallen, and you don't really understand why because you're still uncovering the story as it goes along. But it makes you intrigued. There's an element of tragedy to it, and despite
Hmm.
that, it's just my second favorite in terms of how funny it is. It is
I feel like this
incredibly.
is his funniest. As
It's
far as me
it's
laughing at the
close.
things
Yeah,
happening, I find this one to be the funniest.
it's excellent. There are just really good tense scenes. The One of the standout scenes is obviously our good friend Willem Dafoe stalking
Dude, I love his
Holden
character in this
through
so much. He's got this custom leather jacket where he opens his pocket and there's like
a
a
flask.
pocket for a whiskey flask, a pocket for his handgun, and maybe a pocket for cigarettes or something.
He just
It's just so
always has
good.
brass knuckles on,
He's
like
got brass knuckles. There's the scene
other.
where they're like punching each other one after another, and then like he turns to the camera and gives like this
Yeah. Oh,
thing, and
and there's
the lighting
and the
focuses on him.
level is just so
There's the
good.
part where he's visiting the sister, and he's like in the
Yeah,
snow, and the lighting is just so
you
perfect.
see
Like cast a
Surge.
shadow on his face. It's so good.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
he
And
has like
he's a really genuinely creepy character because they do something with
yeah,
like his mouth or teeth or something to like make them.
Yeah, he's
look
got
all
like a
disfigured.
jaw. Hmm.
He looks like an ape with like
Yeah,
his shaved head and his like the way his ears stick out. He like looks like an actual
his scene,
chimpanzee a little bit.
his scene in the monastery is also great. Another tense moment where you get the chase, and
You get a couple
uh,
of jump scares in this film.
you
You get
do.
one in Moonrise Kingdom where there's like the paper mache version of
Hmm.
her in the bed and her brother screams at it, which kind of
Hmm.
freaked me out also. And this one, you get the severed head right in front of the fucking camera. Like you couldn't hold it back a little bit.
The
I
the
feel like that scared me every
war
single time. I'm
immediately
like,
comes
I
in.
know it's
Yeah,
coming, but it's still freaky as fuck.
yeah.
Um,
I think
and
it
the
was fun.
narrative of this is so. It's also very funny where Gustav has this fetish for old women, and he loves them, man. And there's the one played by Tilda Swinton who died, and that's the whole mystery of her death. And the members of the family blame him, but she gave him this painting that's worth a lot. Which, if you look at it, you may not think much of it, but in the film, it's this almost holy relic boy with
Yeah.
apple. It's so funny. And
As
Adrian
we
Brody
talked
also
about,
in this film is
fantastic.
hilarious.
Yep. Yep. Just like a really crass, fascistic, uh, authoritarian kind of
Yeah, they're basically Nazis by the
version.
end of the
He's,
film, and the
he's
hotel is
just like,
just covered in. I
yeah,
mean, basically,
yeah,
instead of SS, it's ZZ.
yep.
Because the other thing that makes Fantastic Mr. Fox funny is they don't swear; they just say cuss. They say the
Mm,
word cuss in
yeah.
replacements of other swears, and then this film they just go all out. They're saying
Oh yeah.
not fuckity fuck like cringe like that, but they are going all out with a good balance of swearing.
Insults, slurs, and general crassness just to
Yeah,
serve humor as well as ground the characters. They get into a lot of fucky situations. It is somewhat reminiscent of me to the Coen brothers, Oh Brother Where Art Thou,
hmm
in that sort of it feels like an odyssey. It feels like a journey with various different
I mean that is
trials
literally
and
the
tribulations
Odyssey.
that they come through. And it's just so much fun how they deal with it. The prison scene is so iconic. They created an entire Paddington 2 is just that whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's like it's that's also peak. So it's just like even it's
Things that
the
inspired
things
in the
that it
future.
inspired is just as good because of the quality of this film. So good.
Yeah, it somehow balances like that again in the format a lot of these films has. He has that core duo or two, made up of two or three people. In this case, it's two, and they're going on an adventure with this ensemble of multiple forces chasing after them. Where you got Edward Norton sort of playing the more so in this film filled with a lot of very out there characters. He's more of like the straight man sort of who sort of looks up to Gustav and is sort of like the reluctant soldier who doesn't really want to put them in prison but sort of has to and is still motivated to do that. And then him chasing them and Willem Dafoe and the actual family themselves. It's really good.
Yeah,
It's genuinely it's indescribably good, despite the fact that we've been trying to
yeah,
describe it.
because it's all stuff that is very apparent. It's all like surface level. This thing is flawless. It looks great. Performances are great, but there's so much heart and depth behind that there's enough to dive into it and really appreciate even beyond just an initial watch. It's something that sticks with you, just in like the authenticity of its characters and the incredible performance, or it's the wonderful just set and world that he's created, that really immerses you in the world and makes you wish that it existed. It's
Yeah,
just so
dude,
so
being there would be so sick. There's because when I rewatched this film, I just could not accept the fact that it was over. So I have the Criterion collection version of it. So I immediately just watched the commentary track of it,
yeah.
which made me like Jeff Goldblum a lot more. Because just the way he talks is it's very
It's
funny, honestly. Like
entertaining.
just the way he
Yeah,
says stuff.
yeah.
But that was a good sort of. I just said the word
Additional.
commentary track. How could I forget these seemingly basic things? Um, but like yeah, and there's this part of the bonus features where it follows Bill Murray just on set because like him and Jeff Goldblum specifically, supposedly, when they had to film their scenes, they would just stay on set continuously because they just like being there so much.
That's
So they
what
would
I've
just like
heard.
watch the film get made and just hang out
Yeah,
and things like that. And it looks legitimately like a really cool and fun time because there's one of the again one of the bonus things where it follows Bill Murray just going around the set and like the little town that they're located in for a good part of the filmmaking. It just looks really nice to have been there. And a lot of Wes Anderson films can be summarized as that. Like, man, it would have been nice to be on set for that or to be involved in the making of it. Like, it looks fun,
yeah,
you
it's
know.
impressive because his movies aren't extravagantly expensive. I think it's pretty well known that his budgets aren't like over a few tens of millions.
Mm-hmm.
And that is impressive in this day and age. And then also it's impressive because his cast list
The
is
casts are
always
so big.
stacked. He has so many stars that want to work with him because of his production level, his sets, and his authenticity, how much it helps them stay immersed in
Mm-hmm.
it. And also, it just seems like it's generally a fun time.
Yeah.
And
Bill Murray's a
like,
good example of that because I think for Rushmore specifically, he funded a part of it once he was like already involved. He's like, "Ah, I'll
it
pay
was
for some of this
cool.
shit."
It's
It's
like,
like,
yeah, let's make sure this
God
can
dang.
be made.
He
Um,
adopted this guy.
yeah,
Wes.
and obviously, like he has his actors that continuously follow him,
Yeah,
and
he has a little bit of a cult sort of going on where it's
yeah,
evolved slightly.
think just friends, honestly. It's like people
Yeah,
who obviously like Schwartzman and Owen, where like they're good
they
friends
started out
and
with them.
grown up with like each other, just like carrying themselves into success and stardom.
Hmm.
But beyond that, it seems like it's just fun to work with him and beyond his movie sets, and it's an attractive quality that lets us get such incredible masterpieces as The Grand Budapest.
Yeah, and again, I for this one, I like the way that he films action in this. They're like doing the ski chase, and it's like when you give most people the opportunity to do something like that, like nobody would have done it in
Yeah,
that exact sort of way that he did, where it's that balance of miniatures and green
yep.
screen shenanigans and stuff, and it creates such a fun, stylized form of that. You know.
It's so vivid and energetic and fresh. I felt the same way about that one chase scene in The French Dispatch, where it's all 2D art and
Oh
it's
right, yeah, 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 yeah.
incredible, like kind of sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like moments like that where, yeah, it takes you out of the film, but in such a unique way where it's you're not engaged. It's not like
Right.
you're not immersed. It's just like, oh wow, I'm watching film. I'm watching art. This is so deliberate and stylized, and it's so impressive that it can be accomplished to such a polished degree that it
Mm-hmm.
really is flawless in every sense of the word.
Yeah. Some final things I have to say is I have had at least one sort of nightmare about me in this like weird, very big and confusing and very visually dark museum thing. And I was there, I think partially on my own. I was like there with people initially, and then the other people I was with sort of disappeared, and I was eventually on my own. And I think
Dream.
that
So
stemmed from a scene in this film where Jeff Goldblum is wandering through the museum at night, and
yeah, getting
Willem
chased
Dafoe
by
is chasing him. I think that's where that
it's a
sort of dream
scary
came from. It's a freaky uh,
because
moment.
it's like a good maybe 5 to 10 minute long sequence with no dialogue, just the
Just
score
him
of it.
following
The
him.
score
Yeah,
is kind of effectively getting more and more tense, and it's just really well shot. You get your shadows and silhouettes versus the foreground and the
he's
background,
like
and
in the
all
reflection of the
outside
bus as
of
he
him.
sees him
Yeah, and you get the stepping,
from the window.
and he's just like in the rear view mirrors, or when they're actually in the museum, and
Hmm.
it's all just like
Like
you
you don't know
hear,
where he is, and it's like, oh, freedom, not quite.
then he takes it off.
Which
Yeah,
I like
it's
Jeff Goldblum's character a lot in this. Also, it's
yeah.
very his
Another
his
much
hand
more
mannerisms when he's describing the the details of the will and
Mhm.
whatnot. And also,
They-
there's a lot of facial hair in this film. He had the cast grow out mustaches, or like grow out just full facial hair, and then from there they sort of
yeah.
shape them. So that
Which
was
is
fun.
funny because then you have that extra additive of
The
our
element
main
of
character
yeah,
Zero having no mustache and he has to
yeah,
draw it
drawn
out.
out.
He's a young boy essentially,
Yeah.
amidst a very
And again,
wacky.
the romance is there's not much to it, but it's somehow so solid, and you get that like moment with them at the carnival or whatever, and the like
Yeah,
the
it's
camera focuses on her, and there's like all these colors going in the background. Like how do you come up with that? It's so
and the
perfect.
fact
You
that
know
she
what I mean?
just has a birthmark of Mexico on her, it's like, come on, this is so peak. What are we doing?
That's awesome. Um,
So,
it was also one of the first like Irish characters she played because she's Irish, but she's played mostly American
so
characters, so it was noteworthy because she actually got to play a character from the place she grew up in and has a natural accent from, supposedly. And then another sort of footnote I had is this film has the honor of being the first film logged for me in my Word document of movies that I have written down. I don't have the exact date and when I first saw it, but because I wasn't doing that back then, but I have it at like the very top of the all
nice.
films I've ever seen.
Or letterbox. It
Yeah,
was
not in
the
yeah, not it was before I started using Letterboxd. I just had the Word document, which I still update.
yeah, I have the same thing. I don't use it anymore.
Okay, yeah, I
Everyone
do
had to
both
make
still for some reason just
one.
to keep the tradition going. So this film has the honor of being the first one I ever wrote down. Not the first film I've ever seen, but the first film I started. Once I got it, I started getting into movies. This was one of the first ones I checked out to be like, oh, it's a film of all time sort of deal.
Yep.
Which I've only grown to appreciate this one more over time as I've seen it with each instance. Because again, I like you said, I think it appeals to nearly everyone of all walks of life. There's some at least something you're gonna get out of this one, whether it's the good laughs or getting emotional over Abraham, whatever S.
Right.
Abraham's giving
Or
that
even
emotional 3 sentences,
yeah,
just
because
that
you don't
handled
get
with
to
such
oh,
grace.
so good. And even at the end, at the very end, when Ray Fiennes' character is uh,
It's
executed,
genuinely so sad because
it's just
he's one of
leave it
my
off.
favorite film characters ever.
Yeah,
Right?
he's maybe my favorite of all time. And it's just you're left with that mirrored shot from earlier in the film on the train,
Yeah,
and it just get your hands off my lobby boy, cut present day, and so what happens? And oh, they shot him. And it's just matter of fact. It's kind of cold, clinical, but it's perfect in that way. It's not
you
missing.
don't need to
You don't
see
need
the
fucking
violence, right?
melodrama or like yeah, extreme. Um, yeah, it's just it fits so well. Everything is in its right place in this film, and there's nothing I would change.
Absolutely. Yeah, just everything came together perfectly. How many times have we said perfect to
Yeah,
describe this film or parts of it? Because that's really the good way to sum it up. It's flawless, and for me, it does maybe that fact contribute a little bit to my disdain of films beyond that, where immediately he follows up with Isle of Dogs, and I'm sitting there watching it like,
what where do we
God damn
go?
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
again, it's a good movie. It's a very, very well made film. But,
I think it's reasonable to want masterpieces every time.
yeah, again, it's not bad. It's not a masterpiece necessarily, the Isle of Dogs, but the
It's still
the desire and the absence of so many things coming together, not only in the narrative but also outside of that from the people involved in the making of it. Um, it's just nothing else has really come out from him specifically or many other films in general that has matched this in a quality of an experience, right?
absolutely. And I hopefully at the end of this list, I think we've made it clear that we love this director. We think he
Oh,
is
absolutely.
incredibly talented. He still has a wide array of different qualities to his movies, but
Hmm.
in general, there are similarities between all of his films. There's a real artistry behind basically everything that he's put out,
Yeah.
um, which is, warrants all sorts of respect and hopefully success. And he can continue on. It's great that he is so mainstream at this point. Everyone kind of
Yeah.
knows a Wes Anderson style, or you can kind of like look at a symmetrical shot or whatever and be like, oh, that looks like Wes Anderson. Or you could do the bullshit AI shit where you go like, oh, what if the Lord of the Rings was filmed in Wes Anderson style? Like, oh my God, let's put that
Oh,
on YouTube.
hell no. I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
There's definitely a ton of influence that he's created, and
Yeah.
nothing really captures the original thing.
No, sir. So yeah, he had his peak, he had his ups and downs. Overall, though, a very, very, very good and fulfilled career that's not even over yet, presumably, because
Exactly.
he's still in the process of making them. And I don't know if for him we would ever revisit a ranking like this, but when we do talk about perhaps his stuff in the future, we might
Reference this.
reference this video, which would require people to go back and watch it or rewatch
Good. That's
in the
great. That's
future.
great for our
That's what we
marketing. Hell
want.
yeah.
So yeah, probably on screen you're seeing again the rankings between the two of us. Overall, some of them fairly similarly, some of them in completely different places, but I feel like that is a good reflection of him as a filmmaker, where there's going to be some of those very obvious near the top, some of his entries very obvious near the bottom, but a good chunk of them can sort of be anywhere. And again, I mean, we both feel this way for a lot of the middle places. A lot of them could shuffle around.
Yep.
Like if I had made this list on a different day in a different mood, and I'm sure several years from now it'll be uh, a bit different, or even the
Mhm.
same, because I'll like shuffle it a year from now, and then 2 years from now I'll shuffle it again, and it'll be like mostly in the same spot. You know what I mean? It's a lot of close hits right here.
Yeah.
So it was good to revisit them though, and I would I don't know if I would recommend it because again, part of my experience was that being pissed off, but
Hmm.
obviously we recommend his films in general. And yeah, he's a great person that we look forward to seeing more stuff from him. In the same way that I hope the viewers are hopeful to see more stuff from the dynamic duo of Drew and Peter in the future. And the way they could do that is the subscribing and the bell and the comment and the like,
All of that. All of that thing.
all of that thing. So yeah, thank you for watching us do this list. We'll probably do more of these in the future, whether it be for other directors or I don't know, other things
Game.
like that in
Whatever.
general. There's plenty of ideas. These top 10 lists are they're fun to do, honestly. Like even if you were not making these videos, like these are things that I'm doing in my free time anyways. So I'm just honored and happy that I'm able to not only share that with the world, but also do so with my good friend Peter, and we're able to sort of present them somewhat cleanly for people to witness. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you hopefully more in the future.